Welcome to the Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jason Anderson. Guess who's back? The Drake. You know we're back when Drake's back.
I'm so stylish, I got COVID 5 years later.
5 years after Drake was out all last week, and we're like, Drake, why you out? What's wrong? COVID 5 years later. Incredible.
I'm that fashion forward.
Are you also rocking, Steve Harvey suits now, or those now back in style, or what's going on?
Those never went out. You of anybody should know. If anybody in this building was going to wear a Steve Harvey suit, I would guess it was you.
I got one or two.
Okay.
I got one or two.
I'm not surprised.
Jack Johnson, Jason Anderson, Sterling Holmes, and the Drake.
I like the outfit you got on today.
It's very California.
Hey, flip-flops with jeans.
Sometimes it gets a little cool in the station.
Absolutely.
And so you got to cover the kneecaps. But the sandals, because I'll let people know that it's still vacation time. It's still summertime in KC.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and produce on the air here. Hey, Drake, if Todd can find sort of like 7 or 8 clips from the Royals that I cut that saving everything, and they were gone, so I was trying to find those. No big deal. We persevere.
They stole them?
No, they're not saved in the folder for our show. So, for some reason, I saved the first thing I did when I got here. So, trying to find those, get those saved. That's okay. No big deal. We'll just paraphrase what the player.
Wait, did Rob Manfred do this? This was a Rob Manfred situation.
Clearly he did.
A heist.
So, clearly he did. So there you go. It's Monday edition, though. Everybody back to work? Everybody good? Things working smoothly? Fantastic.
I saw Happy Gilmore 2.
How'd that go for you?
Maybe the worst movie I have seen in my entire life, and yet I laughed a good amount.
Well, that's good. That's all you're there for.
I haven't finished it yet.
It's 2 hours. It could have been an hour and 20.
That's about how far in I made it.
The most enjoyable part was the cameos, to be honest. You just go,
The best scene was the Kelsey dinner scene for the Gold Jackets at the Players' Championship or whatever it was.
That was great.
Best scene.
Can I get a sweet tea lemonade? Oh, and Arnold Palmer. No, I'm Jack Nicklaus, but I do get that a lot. That was a good one.
Coming right up. Yeah, Kelsey was good. Well, don't give everything away. You're going to spoiler alert.
No, I've waited.
Oh, you've seen it.
Correct.
So it's okay.
Yes, that's how it works.
So last week we had to do the spoiler alert for you, but now that you've seen it, spoiler alerts don't matter anymore.
The movie's buns, man. I mean, the whole... Why is there so much...
is exactly what you thought it would be.
No, way too much CGI.
The movie is exactly what I
Why
thought
is there
it would be.
CGI in Happy Gilmore 2?
The movie was exactly what
because
you
they
thought
can't
it
hit
would
a ball
be.
550 feet. You got the CGI.
Yards. You can hit it 550 feet.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Hey.
How many yards, though? 600 yards?
Like, that's the whole point. It's like too over the top. Like, the first one was good because it was over the top, but not too corny and cheesy. This one went and jumped the shark. This is Jaws 4.
Jump the Shark was Happy Days, though.
Happy Days, but still.
Right. All right, 913-912-4810. Let's get into the show. Royals take care of business in Toronto. They do what they had to do. Yesterday was a massive swing game. I mean, how big, and, we'll never be able to quantify. I know that Q was probably asked how big swings were and scoring runs and bat at bat. Well, every run is big and it's crucial. But that 8th inning, 2 outs, nobody on, Bobby and Vinny back-to-back to tie the game. And then we know, obviously, what happened in the 10th inning for the Royals to come through and score those 5 runs. They needed almost all of them, but they got them, and they got the win. And it's such a different feeling today, coming off 2 of 3 the way that they did against the Blue Jays, a team that is leading the American League East, a team that you are chasing in theory. You're certainly chasing the Yankees and the Red Sox and whoever loses that division or finishes second, maybe third in that division is who you're going to be chasing for the wild card. So it may end up being the Blue Jays if they start struggling the rest of the way. They're probably not happy after the trade deadline to show up and lose 2 of 3 to a team that's trying to make the wild card, that they are many, many, many games better.
Well, and their guys they traded for blew up with Varland and Dominguez.
And we saw that with a number of different players and teams. The New York Yankees couldn't find anybody to go and pitch out of the bullpen for them.
Well, Yastrzemski hits a bomb.
Yastrzemski hits a bomb in his first at-bat with the Royals. I collected, for some reason, I still have a crazy amount of baseball cards.
Oh, yeah.
Of
Come over.
John Nunnally. I collected John Nunnally cards. That might be the most random collection that somebody chose. Because he had a home run in his first at-bat in the big leagues.
Yeah.
With the Royals. Hit it dead center field. And I man, back then we didn't have all, like, the prospect handbooks and everything. You didn't know, like, how good somebody was going to be. Like, my brother collected tons of Ryan Klesko cards.
Well, yeah.
Like, my brother had all these Klesko cards.
Well, he was good, though.
Right, he was expected to be like Chipper Jones and one of the best players we've seen, like Klesko, this highly touted prospect. I chose John Nunnally for some reason, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get all these rookie cards of John. So I've got like 20 John Nunnally cards in my collection for some reason. And as soon as Ryan was like, the Royals, they hit a home run in their first at bat with the Royals, I'm like, John Nunnally! He did his first major league at bat ever. And it was certainly his first at bat with the Royals. John Nunnally. Nunnally's one of them. Is it John Nunnally? I bet John Nunnally's one of them.
I'm going to be all in on buying Tyler Tolbert cards now.
Tyler
Tolbert is my new
dude.
Nunnally.
Here's the thing about Tyler Tolbert. I don't like getting picked off a couple of times. His caught stealing was BS. I know Blanco had that crazy series with the crayon bat against the Reds last year. But just as a quick aside, it wasn't something I was planning on talking about, but he's been a better Blanco, right? Do we think has he been a better Blanco? In my mind, not looking at like the numbers and really going back and doing a deeper dive, just anecdotally thinking about what we've watched, he feels like he's been a better Blanco. I feel like he's better with the bat, feels like. Defensively, I don't know what he grades out better than Blanco. Blanco didn't give you a whole lot defensively. And he's a base stealer that has been perfect except for a BS review in which he came off the bag after beating the throw and sliding over the bag for a split second. Didn't slide past the bag. I think you should be out if you do that. I think there should be sort of a halo around the bag. If you beat the throw and you are above the bag while sliding, if you slide past it, you're out. If you slide and fall off to the right or the left, you're out. But if you're sliding and you're keeping contact with the bag outside of like a split second, I think you should be able to be safe there. Is he a better version of Blanco, or is it just anecdotally in my mind because I feel like he's come through a number of times, and certainly most recently with the hit that he had last night?
I would still say, as a threat at the plate, I'll give the edge to Blanco, but that's not really what it all comes down to, because what Tyler Tolbert has over Blanco is defensive versatility. He's also a better defender. He can play the outfield and he can play the infield, which is why I believe he stayed up here instead of Blanco. Also, though, Blanco did have some issues with the swing and miss a little bit from time to time. I feel that once Tyler Tolbert got more comfortable, you knew in that spot yesterday that he may not have the 2-run single like he did, but he's fast enough where if he hit one on the ground and it wasn't a play at the plate, he was going to be able to beat it out, and that still has value. Blanco was fast and still is one of the faster guys they have in the system, but overall, I think there's more Tyler Tolbert can give you than Blanco could. If Blanco wasn't hitting at all, yes, he could steal bases, but at the same time, to have an extra position or two you can play, we know how valuable that is for Matt Quatraro.
And even last night, like the speed, I thought he was going to attempt to lay down a bunt. And I know it was a force out at home. And Rex and Ryan talked about that. It was like, well, the difficulty here is that it's a force out there with bases loaded, but can you get it down twofold? Ryan was saying, twofold? One, if you get it down, you can score the run, but he can also beat the throw to first. But it is a force out at home. And I'm guessing the Blue Jays also thought he was going to bunt.
They had literally their defense in.
There were some hittable pitches there And credit to him. He took advantage of that and drives in the runs, and those insurance runs were certainly needed. And Estevez does what a closer does, comes into a game that's not a safe situation and doesn't look sharp. Gives up base runners and runs. It's like if that thing was, well, I don't want to say if it was a one-run lead because the ghost runner and those have been the blown saves. We went through that last week. Those have been the blown saves for Carlos Estevez. Have been extra inning games. But with Carlos, he gets the job done. Wasn't comfortable like many people feel with Estevez, but he gets the job done. The bullpen's been getting the job done. Obviously, in that 10-inning shutout against the Atlanta Braves, Hunter Harvey's looked good. Irsay came through. Schreiber came through. Estevez got the job done, and the Royals score enough runs to win. And the feeling today versus losing that game yesterday, they've now won 4 straight series. They are 17-10 since July 1st, or since June 30th, whatever you want to go with. That's 629 baseball. They get ready for a Red Sox team. And then, unlike the first few months when we talked about the schedule sort of easing up, right? We discussed that so many times. Hey, the schedule gets a little bit easier. The schedule gets a little bit easier for this team. With this particular team, the way they're playing now, I don't know, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. But the schedule easing up after this road trip, when they play the Nationals, they play the White Sox for 6 games, maybe it means more. It's like the SEC now, I don't know. Maybe it means more for this team getting through this road trip because they're playing better baseball. When they were playing some of those lower-level teams, they just weren't playing good baseball. They weren't playing well. Now they are. They're coming through. The top of the lineup is getting things done. Isbell with a clutch hit last night, huge hit last night. I'm glad that they came through and got more because I would have been pretty frustrated if they didn't score any more runs after Isbell got to second because he could have gotten to third.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for, and again, they win the game, so these are small little things. I'm guessing the next time he won't make the same mistake. But it is fun and cool with the, hang loose and, getting the hit and celebrating with the dugout. Isbell was so excited to slide into second and look over at the dugout that by the time he gets up and looks over the dugout, they're barely throwing the ball in.
Yeah, Luperfido slipped. Yeah. And it was a slip and slide.
The ball got past him. He could have been at third, but again, it's sort of new age baseball. I'm sliding in a second. I can't wait to get there so I can look over to the dugout. Only I wasn't really paying attention because the ball got past the right fielder, and now I'm stuck at second instead of getting third. They got runs, though. It didn't matter. It would have been a little frustrating had that not been the case. But I don't also want to look at a negative when he came through with a big, big hit there in that situation. So I'm not trying to do that. It was just you got to be at third at that. And I look over. They cut to him, and he's looking over at the dugout and looks, oh, wait, the ball is right there.
Hudler, you heard his range of emotions on that play.
He gets by. How's he still at second? What happened? I'd like to see him get to third on that.
I'm glad Bobby and Vinny, as you mentioned, came through in the 8th because Bobby had a chance earlier in the game, guy on third base, 2 outs, and did not. He had a couple of strikeouts in that one. Bobby's been good this year, but it hasn't quite been the second MVP voting Bobby. I mean, this is not a knock on him, but that was the expectation was can he build off of that from last year? And it's been a slight regression. I mean, again, he's been phenomenal. And when he did not come through and struck out in that moment, I was a little disappointed, so it was great to see him come through in the 8th, ripping that double, Vinny first pitch swinging, putting it at his best. Vinny first pitch, driving in someone, RBI master. This entire team just feels different. It was a disappointing loss on Saturday after a Friday night, and the fireworks that felt like this team just felt back and then just a dud. But then for them to come back and not just get down on themselves and find a way late in the game into extra innings to come through and take 2 or 3. Because you're right. Now these are opportunities. When you play good teams, those are opportunities to catch the team in front of you. That's a chance to make up ground. They made up ground against the Blue Jays.
Jack, what's the difference in your mind if Bobby hits a line drive at the shortstop in the 8th inning? And they end up losing that thing 2-1 yesterday. And it's like, man, back-to-back games, you score 1 run. After that Friday night, you're making these trades, you're feeling good, and then you don't get enough runs. as opposed to just one game, because we talked about it from the opposite. Like, that doubleheader against, the Cardinals, that was frustrating, that first game that happened in that doubleheader. And you're like, oh, man, you would like to see them find a way to win that one. The White Sox, that Friday night game, like, we've seen these things where, like, man, those games could come back to haunt you. This feels like one that, you could carry over into Boston. I know that momentum's only as good as the next day's starting pitcher, but there's got to be a different feel on the flight. And I think there's a different feel around town with this team after that game yesterday.
There is. Those are the type of games that you have to find a way to win if you are to have this incredible second half. We know on this road trip, you're playing two teams that are incredibly good, incredibly tough to beat in their own places. And looking at that Toronto series, I mean, the way they played on Friday night, it was a non-negotiable. You got to find a way to win one of these other two, because Gossman was going to be the toughest arm you faced in that series. And then you had Cameron on Saturday, you had Lugo on Sunday. You had to find a way to win one of those, and for it to be yesterday, it's huge. Again, they could go out tonight, get shelled by Boston, and you've already forgotten about what happened the other day. But the important part for this road trip is making sure that they don't bottom out in any way. If they go 5-4 on this road trip, it's still a successful one, because you come back home for Washington and Chicago and the Rangers after that, a team that you need to leapfrog to put yourself into a wild card spot. Of course, another team after that. But that's what the goal should be for this road trip. And going into Boston, yes, it's nice to take 2 of 3, but if you only would have taken 1 in Toronto, you would have lost yesterday, you have to take 2 in Boston. I believe now you look at this series, if you find a way to win 1, you can live with it. You win 2, you feel phenomenal going in to play a Twins team that is basically fielding AAA guys at this point. But if you find a way to win 2 of 3, now you're 4-2 against a team like Minnesota. You're talking about that stretch they really need to play good baseball, and it could start this coming Friday. But if you lost yesterday, you're 1-2. I believe you have to take 2 of 3 in Boston, which is much easier said than done with the way Boston looked against Houston over the weekend and just the Royals' success at Fenway Park, which isn't much to talk about.
And Sterling, we're going to see. Are we going to see Bailey Falter tonight?
He's not going to falter.
Yes, I thought I was setting
He's
you up.
not going to
I was
falter.
setting you up.
Bailey, middle name, won't falter.
I was so setting him up, Jack. I was like, are we going to see Bailey Falter? Yes. How negative is this guy? He hasn't even pitched yet, and you're already expecting him to fail? My goodness.
Wait,
We will see
his middle name, his parents are hilarious.
It's
won't.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
I don't believe you.
Gullible's not in the dictionary.
I'm not for
It doesn't show his middle name actually at all on this. So
Don't need one.
Yeah. If you are looking for an update on the Little League World Series, I know a lot of people are. Nebraska's taking care of business over Missouri in the Little League World Series, so that's disappointing. The Midwest region. Kansas is already, I believe Kansas is out. They lost to Missouri, and they lost to
typical.
another team. Yeah, right. It's really weird. Like, the Little League World Series thing, we'll take a break on this. This is just random because it's on TV right now. It's on ESPN. It's so, I mean, I don't know how many cities still have actually Little League there, because the Kansas team is represented by a team in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and the Missouri team is represented by Webb City, which are 25 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Just on one side of the state line. So, like, they play each other, essentially. Like, it'd be like, a team from Blue Springs taking on a team from Overland Park.
Like Blue Line North.
We've seen you guys before. We were sort of playing almost the same league, the same Little League team, or Little League. And just odd, but yeah. So there you go. For the randomness of if anybody wanted that particular update, we'll take a time out. We'll come back. We'll talk about this Royals team has done at the plate. We'll talk about what it means moving forward and what they have done in July, and really since July 1st. What they have done since July 1st. Is that sustainable? Can they keep this up? And do they have to keep up that specific level of that? We'll talk about what that means. We'll get into the Chiefs' first depth chart that they have released. What's the meaning of that, if anything? Jawan Taylor let us in on what was going on last year. We'll talk about that as well. Joel Penfield coming up at noon. Make sure for 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, Manaf, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, well, you know it is something that can affect your life, your relationship, maybe even outside of the bedroom. And if that is happening, there's no need to wait around to see if it will fix itself. Heartland Men's Health will tell you that they are here for you because they have treatments with success rates well over 90%. You know, some men have used the pills or the herbals, and if those are failing, Heartland Men's Health treatments work when that happens. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. There is no need to wait. In fact, maybe the most difficult thing that you will do is just simply scheduling the consult with Heartland Men's Health. Do that. Schedule it today. Don't wait any longer. Your initial visit is only $99. That includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and a medically advised test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. If it does, there you go. They've got an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today, 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we're continuing right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Middle name Won't, first name Bailey, last name Falter. Tonight against the Red Sox, taking on Brian Bayo. Is it Bello or Bayo? I always get confused with I want to say Bayo, but it might be Bello. Is it Scott?
It's Scott.
It's Brian. Is it Brayan? They're both 7-5. Falter and Bello Bayo. Falter with a 3.73 ERA. Bayo Bello with a 3.19 ERA. Royals get started just after 6 o'clock tonight in Boston against the Red Sox. Let's talk about what this team has done offensively, and I want to know if you guys feel like it has staying power or not. Like, is this who we're watching? Is this the team we thought maybe we were going to see this year, and it hadn't taken place, and so we just sort of dismissed that it would happen at all? And any sort of stretch is viewed as random, more like the small sample size. You look thirsty. More of a small sample size rather than what they actually are going to be. In the 27 games since July 1st. So I'll just give you the numbers. 85 games heading into July. The Royals scored 3.3 runs per game. They were dead last, 3.3. They've played 27 games now, starting July 1st. They're scoring 4.8 runs per game in those 27 games. So 85 games versus 27. Since the All-Star break, they're scoring 5.5 runs per game. So it is actually getting better as the days go on. So the temperature right now with the Royals and this Royals offense, 3.3 runs per game to 4.8 to 5.5. Is this what this offense is going to be now moving forward? Is this a really good 27, 30-game stretch that we're watching? And they will eventually come back to being the 3.3 runs per game? Because if that happens, you can kiss the playoffs goodbye. Because really, the offense has to be this. If they're going to make the playoffs, this is what the offense is going to have to look like the rest of the way in these final 50 games that the Royals will be playing, whatever it is that they have left. 50 games, I think it is. Yeah, 50, 112. Yeah, so 50 games that they have remaining. It's going to have to be, doesn't have to be 5.5 runs per game, but it can't be 3.3. So if we are assessing right now, maybe this is the recency bias, pie in the sky, optimism, hoping that this is what it is, do we think the offense is going to be closer to post-July 1 rather than the season to June 30th?
Yes, and here's why. Pre-All-Star break, to do it this way, they hit 245. Post-All-Star break, you want to take a guess what they're batting?
I am going to guess they're batting 243.
236. Actually worse.
Yeah.
But their slugging
The slugging
is 70 points higher.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been talking about from basically all season long.
Yeah.
I know 245, people are going to just scoff at that. But you look at the landscape of today's baseball, that is right in the middle
of the pack.
It is the middle of the pack. And that's why I kept calling Slugger Singles the mascot. Because the Royals didn't struggle to get singles, but a lot of times it was a 2-out single. It didn't help. It makes you feel better, though, right? What they're doing now is driving the baseball, hitting more home runs, adding Randall Grichuk, adding Yastrzemski. Like, these things matter. When Bobby hits a double with 2 outs, that's much more impactful than, let's say, Salvi hitting a single with 2 outs. Because what happens? Well, he's now in scoring position where Vinny can drive him in. We're starting to see a lot more extra base hits. And speaking of that, that's Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez has been driving the bus. His average is still hovering around 250-ish, but you see the doubles, you see the home runs. He's really starting to mash. This is why I think it's sustainable, because, again, it's not the average. There's nothing that's a massive outlier. They're just driving the baseball more. Is that with the weather warming up? Could be. But I think it's also with some of the pieces they've added as well.
Yeah, I mean, this offense, I believe, has found a way just to upgrade ever so slightly where there's just less automatic outs in the lineup. I mean, you go to Friday's lineup, they had 6 league average bats or better in there. And that's, I mean, not to say that's the reason they put up 9 runs in the game, but there's more opportunities for better hitters to do damage or just have a productive out, whereas for so much of the season, you were counting on guys that had either never done it at the big league level or they were not capable of doing it at the big league level. And that's going to show. I mean, if you're relying on 2 or 3 guys in a lineup to always be the driving force, you're going to have months in seasons like the Royals had in the first half where you're only putting up 2.5 to 3 runs a night. Because on the nights those guys aren't producing, you know you're not getting anything from the bottom of the order. But now you have Salvi playing at an above-average level. You've got Vinny doing it. You've got Bobby doing it. Michael doing it. Though since coming over to Kansas City, Grichuk, Frazier, and Yastrzemski have not done it, it's still the threat with the bat in their hands. Unlike some of the other guys they've tried out where you just knew when they were up there, they're not going to come through here. They're not going to be able to start a rally. They're not going to be able to move a runner. And when you do that, you've got more league average bats and more consistency. You can jump that 3 runs per game average to about 4 to 4.5.
Yeah, this team, and going off of what you were talking about, Sterling, I looked it up because I wanted to see what it was pre-July and since July. How they rank in Major League Baseball. Because, you mentioned 236 doesn't sound great, but it's sort of middle of the pack. This team was 21st in batting average before July at 243. Since July, now you gave the All-Star break, but since July, they are 17th in batting average at 243. Same batting average. They've moved up 4 spots, but to your point, it's not just the batting average. They are 10th in runs. They were dead last, but they are 10th in runs scored since July. On base percentage, they were 26th before July. They're 23rd now. Slugging percentage, they were 27th. Since July, they're 8th.
Yeah.
8th best slugging team in baseball. They are slugging 443 with their OPS, 27th in baseball OPS before July. They're now 8th. 750 as a team OPS. This team is starting in July. Weighted runs created plus. They were 28th with 80. 20% worse than average. 80. They're 15th at 104. How many times have we said, man, if this offense can just be middle of the pack with how good the pitching has been? And the starting staff hasn't been amazing the way that it was earlier in the year. I mean, what would this team look like if they would have got this run support the first 85 games of the season? It'd be amazing. And then this is a big one, is base runners outs above average. So base runners out, so 2 plans.
Yeah.
How good you are on the base pads. This is going to be a surprise, but the Royals were 26th in baseball before July at minus 4.6.
Actually, I'm surprised it's 26 and now 29 to 30.
Right. But minus 4.6. Since July 1st, they're 12th in baseball plus 0.8. They haven't been getting a bunch of runs based on first to third stolen bases, but they're also not costing themselves 5 runs. It's not just outs. That's runs above average. Minus 5 runs by just base pads, 2 plans. And now they're plus 0.8, and home runs obviously a big one. They were 30th in baseball with only 58 home runs before July. Now they're 6th in baseball with 39 since July 1st. 27 games, they've hit 39. They hit 58 in 85 games.
Well, I mean,
it's just like they are hitting the ball over the wall, and they're scoring runs. It's weird. They finally realized that fence out there, it gives you runs. You don't have to run hard. You can just jog. You can do the cannon thing. You can stop, do the Jazz Chisholm Euro step. You can stop, stutter step Ronald Acuna. You can do a lot of different things. You can pop your collar like Ricky Henderson, who invented the popping the collar. People don't realize that. But
I didn't realize that.
Ricky used to pop his collar around first base after he hit a home run. You can do anything you want once you hit it over that fencing that they set up in the outfield.
And they're second in Major League Baseball in doubles. They're very good at hitting doubles, but Salvi's doubles have now turned into home runs. He has 20 home runs now.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was it single digits or 12? 11? I mean, early in the year we're saying it doesn't even feel like that long ago. It was, man, can he get over the walls? Is his warning track power now? Is he just older now to where those home runs are now just ending up as doubles or now being caught? Well, they're now gone.
think we're watching a Salvi hot streak that the first half of the season, Salvi was amazing. The second half of the season, he sort of wore down, and he was the Salvi that he was to start this year. And that was what I was worried about is, have we seen the cliff for Salvi? Because it's like, oh, these first 40 games, he's not hitting well. And I'm like, yeah, but go back and look at the last 80 games for him last year. This is like going on almost a full season of baseball where he's OPSing at like 600. But he has been amazing. If we go back to, I'm going to try to find the low point just because that helps the argument more.
You find that, but by the way, remember how we kept saying underlying numbers for Salvi?
Oh, yeah.
Finally!
Yeah.
Finally, the underlying numbers, my nerdiness finally paid off.
Yeah, about time for your nerdiness. Salvi in the last 60 games. In his last 60 games, this is Salvi. He's batting .290. This is not 6, this is 60.
COVID season.
Batting .290, getting on base at .340. Slugging .584. He's got a .923 OPS. He has 18 home runs, which would be 49 over the course of 162. He's having the season he had a few years ago when he hit 48 home runs. That's what he's having right now. In the last 60 games is what he's having, is what he did a number of years ago in that 162 when he hit 48 of them. He's also pacing for 39 doubles in this time. He has been one of the best hitters in baseball. Not just he's hot. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball in the last 60 games, pacing for 49 home runs over what would be 162. He's getting on base at 340. Salvi, on base at 340. And he's coming through in the clutch with some big hits. He had the walk-off. 2 pitches, walk-off. Like he's had some big moments.
But he's going to be catching a lot more. Well,
that's a great point. That was going to be my next question, and I'm glad that Drake went there. My next question is, is there a concern that Salvi slides back a little bit because they're not going to want to play Luke Maile very often? Salvi's going to know that he's going to have to be in there. I think also what Q's going to have to start doing, and maybe this will help when Jack Caglione gets back, is when Salvi is not catching, just give him the day off. And I know that he is going to fight that. He's not going to want to do that. But just to rest the legs, just give him the day off. Don't worry about DHing at that point. Maile's in there, Salvi rest, Cags is the DH, you're fine, as opposed to, you're not catching as much, Freddie's catching, and you can DH and you can still play, but I think the rest of the way, it's going to be vital for you to rest his legs. It's going to suck to take his bat out of the lineup right now, but for the long haul, I mean, you need Salvi hitting like this for this team to make the playoffs. You need this Salvi if that's going to be the case.
I wonder, too, if you have to be very strategic on when you pick those games where he's not in the lineup at all for no other reason. Like, you can't do it against Boston, you can't do it against Minnesota. You could maybe do it in the Washington series or Chicago because you're just back at home. You got the comfort of that. It's a long homestand. So you can absolutely find some ways to do that. But I do agree. If you came to Salvador Perez while this team is fighting for a playoff spot and said, you're not playing today, you'd say, well, what's wrong?
Believe me, my friend.
What's wrong with me? Yeah, I feel fine. And I'm hitting well, so why am I on the bench? And especially, not that he would say this, but, if it was, well, you're not DHing, well, who is DHing? Well, Jack's going to DH. Well, Jack's hitting 147, and we're in a playoff push right now. And unfortunately, those are the decisions you have to make there, where, 2 months ago was, well, just let Jack play and let Jack hit, and doesn't matter what he's doing. Well, it kind of matters at this point now.
So what do you do? Because you have a night game, night game.
Yeah,
3 in a row against Boston. There's no day.
Yeah,
And then an off day. So you could.
He's going to play.
The next 5 games are night. He's off day, 7-10, night game, and then you have the day game on Sunday.
So Sundays, Maile's going to start. And Salvi will probably DH because he had the off day on Thursday.
So does he play? So does he play 5? Does he start at catcher 5 of the next 6 games?
I hope so. I think he should. With the off day on Thursday, I think he should. There's no getaway day on Wednesday. Salvi can be there catching. This is where it doesn't mean that Maile has to catch as much as Freddie, because that's not going to happen. And it doesn't mean that Salvi needs 2 days off a week. I'm saying mix in Like if there wasn't an off day Thursday, then Wednesday or Thursday probably just give him the day off. But the fact that he's got the off day Thursday, then I'm fine with right now against Boston, certainly. You take care of business there, and Salvi plays all 3 games. And then Minnesota, too. I mean, that's a team in your division, and I know they're behind you.
And he crushes it.
And he crushes it. He ain't going to want to sit at Target Field. It's like Salvi at Target Field is like Ty France when he sees the Royals.
Except that we were the Blue Jays.
I thought maybe the Blue Jays they traded for Ty France just because they were playing the Royals these first 3 games.
And he started on Friday against a righty, even though he's a platoon split guy.
Right. He kills the Royals. Let's just play him against the Royals. I think these are 6 games where Salvi plays all 6 games. DHing on Sunday, catching the next 3, catching Friday and Saturday, mainly on Sunday, DHing Salvi, and then you return home and you get ready for the homestand, and then at that point you mix in and see what you can do. Because I have looked ahead of the off days starting the homestand against the Nationals
next Thursday. It's Thursday. So this Thursday, and then it's the Thursday, the August 14th.
I mean, you DH him on. I know what I just said about giving him more days off. But if you DH,
Jason, we need to give Salvi more days off. He should play every single day.
If there is a stretch of like 5 or 6 games in a row where there's no day game, if they play a Thursday but there's no getaway day, then I'd like him just to get an absolute just day off. Because he's played, 107 games so far? And so that means he's missed 5 games to this point. Salvi's going to want to play 50 more games this year. The Royals are going to want Salvi in there. I just think, to Drake's point, he's been one of the best hitters in baseball in the last 60 games. Can you risk him wearing down the rest of the way, as opposed to here and there getting him some extra days off? Because this team is 17-10 in July. That's a 629 winning percentage. You know what it's going to take to get to 87 wins this year? Because 87 is what the pacing for the final wildcard spot is. You know what it's going to take for them to get to 87 wins in these final 50 games?
Well, 31 and 20.
31 and 19, a 629 winning percentage. Meaning what they've done in July is essentially what they have to do the final 50 games. They're going to have to play the final 77 games as the best team in baseball because Milwaukee has the best record in baseball, and they have a 604 winning percentage. The Royals in these 27 games since July is 629. They have to play 629 baseball exactly to get to 87 wins.
Believe in something, Jason.
I'm not saying
believe in something.
Right, I'm not saying they can't because they've shown it for 27 games. They're more than halfway. If we say the next 50, these previous 27, they've shown that they can do that because of the scoring, and they don't have Lorenzen or Reagan's back. And whether good, bad, or indifferent that Jack's on the IL, they don't have him either.
Harvey's back though.
Harvey is back, and knock on wood, Harvey's back for now. And we'll see when Lorenzen comes back. We'll see when Reagan's comes back. But that can only help, and we'll find out what Baylor won't falter tonight looks like. And Ryan, I want to eat some burgers.
Yeah, you're better than that.
Yeah, no, that's right.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
Yeah, I take it back. I need to live off the Greek treat from last week with the. I've copyrighted it, Jack.
But I've trademarked it.
Yeah,
He's copyrighted it, but I trademarked it.
Yeah, so Sterling wouldn't see it. The Karlaftis gelati combo is the Greek treat. I'm staying with that one. TM R circle, whatever. It's
I stole it.
Both of them. No, you stole the lumberjack, or at least you tried. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, and we'll look at this team, who they're chasing, the bullpen, what the bullpen's been able to do with, as we said, Harvey returning, and a couple of other nuggets when it comes to the Kansas City Royals. We'll talk some Chiefs, the depth chart, Jawan Taylor coming up at 11 o'clock, Joel Penfield noon, Mick Schaefer 1 o'clock, more zone next. It's been beautiful weather, but we know that it's not going to maintain and stay beautiful weather. The storms are always around the corner around here, and Pyramid Roofing is the spot for you. If you have questions about what's going on in the roof, you can't see what's going on up there. You can't see every little part of that. Pyramid Roofing is here to help you with free roof inspections. We woke up a couple of Wednesdays ago when that huge storm hit, or I guess Thursday, but that huge storm hit Wednesday night. We wake up and we see a water spot there on the ceiling. We're like, oh no. Immediately, hey, Pyramid Roofing, 816-966-1101. They come out later that day, give me a free roof inspection, see what's wrong, give me the quote, knowing exactly what needs to be fixed, and we're getting that done with Pyramid Roofing. They've been great to work with. We had to get new gutters, bigger gutters, the downspouts. All of those things weren't big enough for the runoff and the way the roof was shaped. It just wasn't designed properly with how big the gutters were. They came out, looked at everything. Here's where you're going to have your biggest problem. This is why it's overflowing here, and it's messing up the concrete as the water is just like a waterfall on there. It's just chipping away and chipping away at that area. Plus the gutter guards there. That's what we did with Pyramid Roofing, and now getting some areas fixed on the roof. They went up there and said, hey, you're good to go in really everywhere else. This one spot, this is wind damage, this was from a storm, and it's actually flipped up, and it's allowing water to get underneath there. We'll come in and fix all that. You're all good. If you have questions about anything on your roof, leaks, missing, damaged shingles, sagging roof, broken tiles, if your roof is over 15 years old, then it's certainly something you want to get checked out because peace of mind is worth a lot. Free roof inspections. You can weatherproof your roof. Stay ahead of the weather. It's commercial and residential and, of course, locally owned and operated. PyramidRoofingKC.com. Check them out there. PyramidRoofingKC.com. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Pyramid Roofing, 816-966-1101. Check them out. PyramidRoofingKC.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Is the Yastrzemski trade a failure? He only has one hit. He can't hit anything but a home run. Like one hit, a home run. Is that already... It was a big hit. It was a big play. It was one play, fucker. It was a big play. It was a big point. Smeeth fuckers.
I know, but I thought Drake was going to get scared back there.
No, he's just eating his chips. He's fine, man. He's just enjoying himself.
Is he fine? He has a mask dangling from one ear.
Hey, Sterling. The grill is hot, the beer is cold, and the water's luke. Let's have some fun here. Let's roll, man. Put about 200 man-hours in this thing, you know? Salvage the wood from an old Indian village in Nantucket. Your people would call it a hopa. It's an altar. So 913-912-4810 is the text line.
I love how Jack and I look at each other like, when's he going to finish? When's he going to just be over with this?
Well, once he gets done with that altar, you know? It's a great character by Owen Wilson. It's awesome. How's your portfolio? Say strong and quite strong. See, you get it. Yeah, you got to diversify.
I'm a big Wedding Crashers guy.
It's good. Wedding Crashers is phenomenal. But, you know, and Owen Wilson playing sort of that character a little bit. We've seen him sort of find that. Wow.
My thoughts on Hunter Harvey.
Wow. All right, 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. As they wrap up this road trip, what would be realistically preferable? Because 6-0 isn't realistic. That would be amazing, but it's not realistic. When they return home, if we say they are still battling, they're right there in the wild, they're playing good baseball, is it 3-3 the rest of the way? So they would then finish 5-4. 5-4 the rest of the way? So 3-3, you have a 5-4 road trip, 3 cities, Toronto, Boston, Minnesota. They went 2-8 their last time they had a 3-city road trip. So is 5-4 all good? So 3-3 the rest of the way with Boston and Minnesota? Would you like them to get to 4-2? Is 5-1 like, okay, now they're really legit? Is 2-4 a failure? Like, what's our feeling right now? They're coming off the 2 games, the series, 4 straight series they have won since the All-Star break. Well, first series was, so they lost the series against Miami after the All-Star break. But they've won the series since then. The Cubs, the Guardians, the Braves, but now the Blue Jays, 3 out of 4 are in the playoff hunt. So what's the record that you'd be fine with? Or the record that would really let you know that this team is still serious contenders?
They go 3-3. I'm fine, but I'm slightly disappointed because the Twins sold off everyone not named you, me, and Dupree.
Was there a player named another Owen Wilson? Nice job.
So that's where it comes down to for me. 1 out of 2 against the Red Sox isn't a disaster. You have to at least get 1. Obviously, 2 out of 3 is preferable. Sweep's preferable, but you have to at least win 1 against Boston. But it's the Twins that I think you have to really beat up on.
Cleveland just took 2 of 3 from Minnesota. All 3 games, by the way, 1-run game. They beat the Twins 3-2, beat them 5-4, and then lost 5-4.
I mean, the Twins sold off.
Yes.
10 players from the Major League roster.
They sold everybody.
So,
but they're playing competitive baseball against the Guardians.
No, and they're not horrible still, but they're not good. You gotta 3-3 at a minimum.
What if 3-3 is you lose the series to Boston 2-1, and then you take the series 2-1 from Minnesota? I mean, it's 3-3.
Fine. That's what I said. It's fine.
Jack?
Yeah, you take 1 in Boston, you take a series in Minnesota. I think you feel pretty good at, what would that make you? 500 exactly
Still
coming back
500,
for
yeah.
Washington and Chicago. That's the goal. You go anything better than that, you're really, really feeling good.
Yep. They'd be 59-59. They've already gotten to a point to where I didn't think they would get to. I said a while ago that they're not going to get back to 500.
Liar. You know what that was? Fiction.
You agreed, though. But
No,
that's fine.
I had a new factor fiction. And I said they will get back to 500 because I believe.
Once they got to 2 games under 500 from 7 games under 500, once they got to 2, factor fiction. Once they played 5 games over 500 in a couple of weeks span, I decided to change my answer.
Fact.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson, and the Drake. We head up until 2 o'clock. Joel Penfield joins us at noon. Mick Schaefer comes up at 1 o'clock. 913-912-4810 is the text line. The Chiefs released their depth chart yesterday. Unofficial. This is unofficial, folks. This is not official. It's typically put together by the PR staff and judging off of sort of what they're seeing. But I went back and looked at last year. Okay, so what was last year's first depth chart and then the depth chart before week number 1? Okay, let's add some context to this. Let's present it to where, okay, this is what we saw last year. Is there something to glean and take away from this year? So August 6th, they released their first depth chart last year. And a few things that stood out compared to what the first game of the season was depth chart against the Ravens. And see if there's anything that we can connect with this. To start, at least the first depth chart last year, the starting cornerbacks were Trent McDuffie and Joshua Williams. Jalen Watson was a backup. Now, he was coming off the injury, but he wasn't on the PUP at that time, so he was able to be listed just as, like, Christian Fulton's not listed on this because he's on the PUP. So, you know, it's like, oh, Christian Fulton, he's not even on the 20. He's not even on the roster here. What's the deal? But that was interesting that Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams were flipped. Now, week number 1, it's Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie. So some injury allowed him to get there. I think that's probably going to be the case if we look back a year from now and go, well, you know, the difference is that initial depth chart, Christian Fulton was still on the PUP, and, you know, he and McDuffie started and everything. One of the other things that stood out was that Shamari Connor was listed as a cornerback in the first depth chart last year. And then in week number 1, Shamari Connor was a backup safety to Brian Cook, although we saw Shamari Connor play a lot in the slot, while Trent McDuffie played on the outside. So that's interesting that Shamari Connor is listed as a safety this go-around because he was listed, and the starting safety, by the way, ahead of Jaden Hicks, and he was listed as a cornerback to start last year's. So there are a couple of takeaways we can have from this one. It is not the end-all, be-all. But I think it's interesting that Shamari Connor listed at safety. Last year's initial depth chart, he was listed at cornerback. Shut up. Oh, sorry. Stop yelling.
So one, I'm with you. That was the first thing that stood to me was Shamari Connor listed at safety, which I'm thrilled by because that means hopefully he's played in safety. 2, Joshua Williams is way down the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
Way down there. Noah Williams is ahead of him, and we know how rookies typically are pushed back in this. Also, Christian Roland Wallace is somehow behind Josh Williams.
Yeah, he's a decent ways back, is CRW.
I think a big one for me that I thought was, whether you want to look at it as disheartening or optimistic, Ashton Jelani was ahead of FAU.
That's one that I do want to talk about. I do want to get into.
Because rookies, again, are typically way down on Andy's depth.
There's no way to spin that as a positive.
Look where if you're optimistic on Jelani.
Yeah, but how can you be optimistic on Jelani? You've seen 2 weeks of practice. The Chiefs have seen 2 years of FAU.
Look where Jeffrey Boss is. I mean, on the depth chart. Look where Jalen Royals is behind guys like Tyquan Thornton and Sky Moore. The rookies are almost always really far down on Andy's depth chart. Obviously, Josh Simmons, left tackle starter. Omar Malott, not the starter. He's behind Mike Pennell. So when I saw Jelani ahead of FAU, I was surprised.
I'm not surprised, honestly. Like, I think it would have been... Okay, I think it would have been easy just to put FAU ahead of Jelani. I think it'd be like, all right, here's FAU's been there a couple of years. Jelani's a rookie. But Jelani being listed ahead of him, I think is really where they are right now. And that's disappointing for FAU. Like, for as much, and it sucks because he's a local kid.
Yeah.
And you know, the local kid, you know, oftentimes we handle with kid gloves, and I know I'm a little more optimistic with more of leeway when it comes to a local kid, especially at least some kid, you know what I mean? But there's no getting around it. That's been a bust in the first round. That's been a bust of a pick. If anybody wants to talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, FAU is a much bigger bust than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Edwards-Helaire at least had a 1,000-yard rushing season his first year. And you can make a case that the hip injury to Edwards-Helaire changed the course of what his career was going to be with the Chiefs. Because he has that hip injury, a hip injury for a running back. I mean, I know it wasn't Bo Jackson, but you do that to your hip, you come back, are you as explosive as you were before? I don't know. I watched film of him his rookie year, and there were highlights of him in college. Like, where's that guy at? Well, maybe that guy was lost in New Orleans when he got tackled wrong and that hip, popped out. FAU has just been very underwhelming and continues to get buried on the depth chart. He's a first-round pick. He shouldn't be behind a third-round rookie. I know people are like, third rounder. We really like Ashton Gelati. FAU was a first-round pick. Like, that's disappointing that he's there. You can try to spin it and say it's positive for Ashton Gelati. You've seen Gelati for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Gelati play for. And the biggest thing we saw from Gelati is the fight with Josh Simmons. That's the most we've seen from Gelati of making a play or anything. Was look at him, he fought with Josh Simmons.
Well, we need some fight from FAU then, I guess.
I mean, it is just this is a year where he's got to come through, because I can create a scenario where if FAU was really good, they don't have to pay George Karlaftis. They could look at it and say, George Karlaftis, we'll let him play this year. Maybe we have a fifth-year option for him. But FAU's the guy that's sort of coming along. They didn't have to pay Shavarius Ward because of L'Jarius Sneed. They didn't have to pay L'Jarius Sneed because of Trent McDuffie. If Trent McDuffie was Kyer Elam, do they trade L'Jarius Sneed?
No.
I mean, it's a position where you don't want to be in, but they were able to do that. Maybe they still pay George Karlaftis because they like the overall player, they like who he is as a person. That certainly matters within the organization as to who they pay. But yeah, that's a disappointing development that in year 3, he's a third-string defensive end behind a rookie third-round pick.
Are we all a little surprised to this extent of he looked fine and even at times good last year in flashes, but we never saw more of him? Because I was always slightly perplexed that we'd see FAU flash and you look down at the snap count and you're like, he only played 6 snaps, but he was noticeably good on 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. Like, you saw him and you're like, man, he actually looks pretty good. And so I thought him going into his third year, he's now 23. He has the body type now for the NFL. We knew he was raw coming out of K-State. And I'm a Mizzou guy. It's not like I have a major alliance to K-State, but I'm here trying to even take that out of the equation. I was okay with the FAU pick. Okay. We knew they were drafting where they were drafting. They needed an edge rusher. They pigeonholed themselves into taking a guy because it was in Kansas City. Whatever you want to say, we know it's a sunk cost now. But, like, I've seen FAU show flashes to where I want to see him on the field more. So I guess that's why I'm disappointed seeing him now as a third stringer. I thought we would see more opportunity for FAU this year, and that does not seem to be the case.
Yeah, I was hoping we would see that, but it's not happening right now. FAU was the backup to Mike Dana last year in the opening depth chart.
Because no Minute
last year. Yes, it was Mike Dana and FAU, and then first game of the season it was Mike Dana and FAU. It was Karlaftis and Malik Herring, both the original depth chart and the one before the Ravens, where, I mean, Malik Herring is behind Amenahue and Gelati, so your 2 backups last year are your third stringers. You've got Gelati and Amenahue. Like, you look at the defensive end group last year. It was Karlaftis, Dana, Herring, FAU, and Cam Thomas. That was right before the Ravens.
Forgot about that. The 7th rounder, or whatever it was. For
yeah. Now it's Dana, Karlaftis, Gelati, Amenahue, FAU, Malik Herring. I mean, you're much better just by having Amenahue healthy and Ashton Gelati in there. You knew Amenahue would leapfrog those 2 once he's healthy. But Ashton Gelati doing that. Maybe they really like him, but I think this is more about FAU than it is about Ashton Gelati.
I don't know if this is a typo either, but it looks like Ashton Gelati took FAU's number as well. It has Gelati as 97 and FAU down to 91, so not only did he take his spot in the depth chart, he take his number, or is that a typo?
FAU says he's number 91 according to PFF right now.
So he was 97 last year, wasn't he? So not that that means too much, but when you talk about a guy that already getting jumped by someone that only has a couple of highlights from training camp. I mean,
he was 97.
Yeah, good call. He was 91 in college.
91, so maybe it was hey, you won 97.
Who left? Was Tershon? No,
he was.
Who was 91 last year?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but with FAU, the good news is at least after he was taken in the first round, the only guy that
Naughty,
that's right. But you look at
so then Felix probably switched, and then Gelati comes in and gets 97.
I was like, oh, that kind of popped up on my radar there. How would it have happened?
It's probably a story that was big at a time that we probably talked about, and then forgot about 1,000 other things happened along the way. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But the good news is with that pick in the first round is that the only other edge rusher I could pull up real quickly was Keon White to New England. So and then you had Jaden Reed go to Green Bay, but then the Chiefs took Rashee Rice not long after that. So it's not like there was that obvious. Where I remember with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick, T. Higgins was right after that, and you felt, man, that was
Jonathan Taylor was there.
Yes.
I mean, you're like, if you're going to take a running back, Indianapolis Colts receiver
Pittman.
Thank you. I was going to say Michael Pierce. Michael Pittman was taken right after that as well. I mean, if you're going to take a running back, it's like, well, Jonathan Taylor has so much tread on the tires, so you never know if he's going to get injured. Okay, that's fine. They got that one wrong, and it looks like, I don't even say it looks like, it certainly is the fact that FAU, they got that one wrong, because it doesn't mean you have to take the defensive end at that point. You take the best player you can possibly take, and whether they were allowed to trade back or not, I personally believe that there was no way in hell Clark Hunt was going to sign off on Brett Veach trading back when the draft was being held in Kansas City, and they brought out the Super Bowl trophies, and they did the whole deal before pick number 32 with the Chiefs. If you trade out of that, you don't have that huge pomp and circumstance, dog and pony show, and all of that stuff. But also you have to have a trade partner. So you can't just press the trade back button. If nobody wanted to trade up to get somebody, if there was nobody there, the teams were going, yeah, we're willing to give this up to trade up to get them, then you take somebody that you feel like is the best on their board. Maybe that was FAU, and it just has not turned out to be what they were hoping it would be. So that certainly was an initial takeaway that I had as Ashton Gelati. Joshua Williams being buried as the third cornerback, Noah Williams being ahead of Joshua Williams. Christian Roland Wallace being behind Joshua Williams. I thought that was pretty interesting as well. Ethan Driscoll is listed as a guard, and he played tackle all of last year. So Driscoll is the third string right guard behind Trey Smith and C.J. Hansen, and he was a backup tackle last year. So that certainly is of note. Jalen Moore is only listed on the right side, whereas Wanya Morris and Essa Pohl are listed on the left side behind Josh Simmons. Last year, Wanya Morris was the backup right tackle and left tackle. So
on the depth chart.
On the depth chart. Okay. So he was listed at both. So you can put him at both. You can put him at two different spots. So it doesn't have to be, well, you only list them on one side. Well, Wanya Morris was a backup on both sides last year. So you can certainly do that. List them there. But just a couple of things there with that. Because Jalen Moore isn't listed on any of the guard spots either. It's got, Kingsley and Mike Caliendo on the left side, and then Dalton Cooper, Creed Humphrey, Hunter Rosad. So there's a few things that stand out here. Brashard Smith as, the backup punt returner, kick returner. Okay, he's getting some run, a little bit there.
But no one else. Just for Mejio and Smith.
Yeah, are listed. Let me look at last year if there was any, if there were more that were listed. There were three listed last year. Punt returner was Xavier Worthy, McCole Hardman, and Nico Remigio. Kick returner was Remigio, McCole Hardman, and Louis Rees-Ahmed. He's back to rugby now.
Is anybody else surprised that Sky Moore's ahead of Remigio on the wide receiver depth chart? Or is that just nothing to, it's talking about number 3 and number 4, but...
Right. He was in the same spot last year at the pre-depth chart, and ended up being the same spot as the week 1 depth chart. The same exact thing.
I told everyone, people aren't going to love it. He's especially with Rashee Rice, more than likely at least from my assumption, being suspended, I think Sky Moore has a really good chance of making this roster. People are not going to love it.
But I even I mean, not that, again, we can't fall for all the training camp hype, and I'm certainly not going to do that again, but the fact Jalen Royals will be behind him, like, I'd rather, if Rasheed Rice is not available week 1, I would much rather have Remigio and Jalen Royals over Sky Moore.
Well, that's the thing about the depth chart. Yeah, like the depth chart right now, as we look at it, like Jalen Royals being a fourth string behind Tyquan Thornton, behind Sky Moore, like Royals is going to be on the team.
Yes.
So if we're looking at it going, well, you got Rasheed Rice, you got Xavier Worthy, you got Hollywood Brown, you got Juju, then they list Sky Moore, then Tyquan Thornton, then Remigio and Jalen Royals. Like, who are going to be the 5 or 6 receivers, or maybe 7? It'd be 7 receivers, because if Rasheed Rice is suspended, he won't count against that. So you got Rice and Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Juju. Well, Jalen Royals is on this team, so there's 5. And if they're only going to keep 6, it's Sky or Thornton or Remigio. And if Rasheed Rice is out, then it's Sky, Thornton, Remigio for 2. 2 of those 3 that would make the team. Sky Moore feels like a here's a trade. Like, I think there are 2 players on this that feel like a Brett Veach late camp trade. Sky Moore, somebody's going to have to want him, but also Joshua Williams. Like, I think Joshua Williams to the Miami Dolphins seems like that should be an easy trade. The Dolphins have the worst cornerback group in football. They lose one of their best cornerbacks for a team that isn't that good anyway in the secondary. Lost for the season. There is a team in desperate need of cornerback, and you've got a guy that's going into his 4th year that has started a number of games, started playoff games, might be the best cornerback on their team right now. Doesn't mean he's good. That might bring you 7th if you're going to move on from him anyway with Noel Williams and Najee Johnson. What you like from him, and Christian Roland Wallace. Listed back there. Would you rather have Joshua Williams? Would you rather have the 7th rounder for Joshua Williams and Christian Roland Wallace, or Joshua Williams and try to sneak CRW to the practice squad so you can keep Joshua Williams? I know they like him, but that first depth chart last year that came out, he was a starter. And only thing that's happened since then is he has gone backwards throughout last year, and now opening up this depth chart 3rd string.
Well, yeah, I do think CRW and Williams are vastly different, because CRW is strictly slot, nickel corner, while Williams is strictly on the outside. So a little different there, but yeah, I'm with you. I do think that could be one. I think Tyquan Thornton could be one of the Sky or Tyquan, whoever they decide to keep. Remigio, I feel, has a good shot, because, again, looking at this, he is your returner. He feels like a pretty safe bet now to make the roster, because you look at the depth chart of punt and kick return. He's going to be both. So I would imagine he makes the roster, and Rashard Smith as the backup, as well as maybe he's which again makes running back interesting for 53 versus game day on activations. Who's the running back sitting out?
Yeah. The kick returner, the kick returner last year, Nico was number 1 in the original depth chart. He didn't make the team. He was the number 3 punt returner, but the number 1 kick returner, and he was still cut.
Who were the initial kick returners? It was Carson Steele.
It was first game of the season. Are you talking about?
Yes.
It was Carson Steele and McCole. That was out there. Samaje got some. Sky Moore got some return as well. But Carson Steele felt like was on every single one of those kick returns. But Nico was listed as the number 1 kick returner last year, and he ended up getting cut. Number 3 punt returner, but they also list Xavier Worthy as the number 1 punt returner on the first depth chart. They also list Xavier Worthy as the number 1 punt returner on the depth chart for the Ravens, and he returned 0 punts last year. 0 punts he returned last year.
Special teams is a little harder to suss out.
Let's take a time out. We'll come back on the other side. I want to get into a conversation about Juwan Taylor. This is a guy that has been much debated. A guy that has been a lightning rod around the NFL for the penalties and the illegal formations and things like that. But what he said over the weekend, I'm going to talk about that and put it into context. If this is something that we should be viewing a little bit differently for Juwan Taylor entering this season, we'll talk about that next. All right, we'll talk to Joe Penfield coming up at noon. One Royal Way podcast. Get his thoughts on the weekend that was for the Royals. Really, this past week, trade deadline, what took place, what the Royals did, and now they get ready for the Boston Red Sox, a 3-game series, a team that they are chasing in the wild card, a team that's chasing the Toronto Blue Jays, and a team that has surpassed the New York Yankees now by a game and a half because of the Yankees getting swept at the hands of the Marlins. And the Boston Red Sox 8-2 in the last 10 games. They've been one of the best teams in the American League. In fact, in the last 10 games, they have been the best team in the American League. Royals, second best team in the American League at 7-3. So these two teams matching up tonight with Bailey Falter on the mound for the Kansas City Royals, taking on Brian Balabayo for the Boston Red Sox. So we'll talk to Joe Penfield coming up at noon. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. And Juwan Taylor was at the podium on Saturday. Let's hear from Juwan Taylor. You know, we mentioned that he started. We talked about the fact that he started training camp on the PUP list, and somebody that got surgery. We found out from Avery last week that he had surgery to clean up his knee. And here's Juwan Taylor weighing in on what took place in the offseason, what happened last year, and where he is right now in regards to that knee.
I had a knee stroke back in March. Then I went on Panama, had stem cell injection made. So just been treating and trying to get my knee back healthy for the season. Yeah, I heard a lot of guys had a lot of success with it throughout the league and stuff like that. So we set it up here for me to go up there and get it done. And it was a phenomenal experience for me. Oh, it was pretty challenging, man. I took a hit to the knee in week 5, and then I played the whole season pretty much with that nagging knee injury. You know, I was getting my knee drained every week, trying to prepare for the games, and just do what I can to be my best for the team every week. So just fight through every game.
How much are you looking forward to having that? How much potential should not happen?
Definitely looking forward to it, man. You know, just been treated every day, staying on top of it, just trying to make sure I'm good to go for week 1, and just do my part to help the team win. Absolutely, man. Once I got my MRI at the end of the season, you know, I had a lot of wear and tear on my knee, just like wear and tear on my kneecap, partially tore my meniscus, wear and tear on my patella. So it definitely had an impact, I feel like, on my play overall, just trying to be at my absolute best. But, you know, it is what it is. I just want to sacrifice and do what I can to help the team win. Very important. I do anything to help my team win. So it's just sacrificing my body, sacrifice my knee, whatever it is, go out there and help the team win. I'm going to do that. So you know, I knew I had to get surgery at the end of the year, but just kept fighting every week to be my best. Never. No. Because I did the same thing in college. I tore it in college, played the whole season on, and got the surgery after the season, so I knew I could do it again. I'm a little older now, but I was like, I can do it, so I did.
So there's Juwan Taylor weighing in on what happened last year. He said in week 5 he took a hit to the knee and was just sort of dealing with it all last year. Like, he was on the injury report a number of weeks, pretty much every week. And anytime there was an indoor practice because of rain throughout the season, Juwan Taylor did not practice, was a DNP. And that's what Chiefs typically do for guys that are nursing knee injuries along the way. L'Jarius Sneed never practiced when they went indoors because they don't want the guys practicing on the turf that have knee injuries. Not as soft as the grass that's out there when they can practice outside. So I'm looking at some of the numbers for Juwan Taylor a year ago. And weeks 1 through 5, he had a pass blocking grade of 72.5. They were off week 6. So week 7 through the Super Bowl, he had a pass blocking grade of 68. And as the season went on, as he talked about the wear and tear, week 16 through the Super Bowl, he had a pass blocking grade of 53.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, and this is where we'll ask the question, does it change in anybody's mind, adjust some of the conversation around Juwan Taylor last year if we find out that he was playing through a knee injury that required surgery, and in the bye week when, after he gets the hit to the knee and they go through the MRI and everything, and you see that there's going to be some issues the rest of the way, and structural damage to the partially torn meniscus, structural damage, at least wear and tear, I should say, not structural damage, wear and tear to the patellar, wear and tear to the things behind the kneecap that he was dealing with every week, having his knee drained so he can go out there and play. Does that change a little bit of the view around Juwan Taylor? He was asked by Sam McDowell at the end, did you think about having season-ending surgery? And he said, never thought about it. I mean, in theory, he could have, going into a contract year this year. I know it's not a traditional contract year, but we all know it's a contract year for Juwan Taylor. The Chiefs are going to move on from him after this year, even if he's awesome. So he's going to be a free agent after this year. I do wonder, at least I do. I changed a little bit when, that a guy played through that all of last year. And we didn't know that that's what was happening behind the scenes. Play on the field this year will dictate whether or not we view last year differently.
Slightly, and I tip my cap for him grinding through it, and it's impressive what he did, obviously, to fight through it, but part of me also, not trying to be cynical or be rude, but 2023 happened.
Yeah. Yep.
He was slightly better, actually, last year. Full transparent, if you want to go by PFF, if you want to go by penalties, he went from 20 and 23 to 17 last year.
I think some of that was the first year, the first 5 or 6 weeks, he was getting all those penalties with the.
He had it all last year too.
But it was at the beginning. Was
I know.
penalty.
I know people want to blame Chris Collinsworth.
No, it's
at
not,
some point
it's not blaming Chris Collinsworth. It's him that he had to adjust, but it took him too long to adjust.
He had 4 penalties in Week 17 last year. He had 3 in Week 4 prior to the injury. He had 2 in Week 1 last year.
I'm not saying he was good.
No, but that's pre-injury.
But if we compare penalties last year to the year before,
sure,
I think there's some context to what happened in the first 3, 4, 5.
But before the injury happened, he had 5 in 4 weeks last year.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it be unkind. I appreciate him grinding through the injury. But a lot of times when you do talk to former players and offensive linemen, Mark Schlereth's talked about it a ton. I think Grunny's talked about it some too. Getting surgery after the season is just what you do. It's just part of what comes with.
Not everybody gets surgery after the season, but you
do
have surgery.
A lot of these cleanups, we don't even talk about because it's just the players don't even talk about it. It's just what you do. It's part of what comes with being in the NFL.
I think it's a little bit different, though, that if he was on the injury report the last half of the season,
yes,
and any practice indoors, he was sitting.
100%.
So they knew that he was nursing.
I'm not trying to take anything away from him playing through the injury, but I don't almost want to use it as a massive excuse. We saw the drop-off, and the drop-off happened in Week 16 was the real drop-off of Juwan Taylor. So eventually, sure, the wear and tear of it did wear him down. But if you want to say in Week 5 when it happened, and then you go to Week 7 was one of his best performances of the year. Week 8, Week 9, Week 10, Week 11, he actually had some of his better performances those weeks.
Yeah.
It's tough to say correlation, causation outside of the eventual maybe wear and tear in Week 16. It doesn't take away anything that happened in 2023. Quite frankly, from a production standpoint, he was basically the exact same player. I just tip my cap for him fighting through the injury he sustained.
Really, he doesn't need to be a phenomenal right tackle. He just needs to be serviceable, in my opinion, because more of the focus is going to be on the left side. What it looks like with Josh Simmons and what it looks like with Kingsley Suamataia, both left tackle and left guard. If you have the ups and downs, you're just hoping that the downs are not, game-breaking, or they're not going to change the outcome of the game. And that's honestly a couple times last year when he was really good, you didn't notice it, right? The Week 7 performance, I feel for a lot of people, that came out after the game, how well he graded out, and it was, now that I think about it, he was really good in that game. So if he can limit the penalties, limit the pressure rate. There was a stretch of games last year, too, where it wasn't the pressure rate from the right side way, way down. Like he was holding his own over there, and that's honestly all I'm asking for. Am I asking for him to be worth the money? At this point, it's a little bit too late in the game for it. If he can just be a fine right tackle, you're not noticing him throughout the game, that's fine with me. And I feel that if he does feel better, he feels in better shape, the knee feels good, I got no reason to doubt that he can do that. You're just hoping that when he has those bad games, it's not what we saw in 2023 where it was 4 penalties in a game or 5 penalties and allowing a couple of pressures.
I guess that's my point. Is I appreciate him fighting through it, but where's the baseline of him all of a sudden saying he's going to look better? If he was healthy in 23, he actually graded out worse in 23 than 24.
Some of those grades, though, are affected by the penalties.
A lot are. I know that.
He had 10 penalties the first 4 weeks of the season in
but
2023.
that's kind of my point is
he got 5 against Jacksonville when he got benched.
I can appreciate him really fighting through the end. Like, I applaud him. I couldn't do it. I probably wouldn't do it. It'd be like if we had an injury to our vocal cord and we had to try and keep doing this. For $20 million, I might try and fight through, though. A little different, but
a little different, yeah.
But I guess the point still remains, I can applaud him fighting through without me trying to be like, oh, he's going to look so much better because he was healthy in 23.
Yeah.
He was healthy the first 4 weeks of the year last year, and he didn't look so much better. And quite frankly, he looked better post-injury from week 5 to week 9 than he did any other time in Kansas City.
The part about that whole thing that stood out to me was the fact that he went to Panama.
Went to Panama to have the stem
You
cell?
have to. It can't be the United States. And so I think Aaron Rodgers did this. There's guys that do this. It cannot be the United States. There's only like 4 countries or 4 areas that you can get the stem cells injected. You can get stem cells in the United States. Some of the injection process.
Like Walgreens, but you can't.
Not
inject
Walgreens, but I
them.
think you can. But you have to get the injections done somewhere else. And I think Panama is one of the places that you can get it done at.
That's weird. I think that would be the place to go for a root canal.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, it felt like a root canal watching Juwan Taylor.
I feel like you should have somehow just gone to break right then. Like you have the power to do that.
That's right. He has the power. I don't know. So the question that I asked, and I asked the question because I'm still, figuring out myself. Not that, okay, well, this happened last year, therefore he's going to be great this year. As I said, performance this year will almost color what we think of him a year ago based on the injury. If he comes out and has a really good year, you're like, okay, first year, you felt like he was kind of getting picked on because now he's in the spotlight. He was doing the exact same thing against the Chiefs for the Jags, and nobody cared. Then he joins the Chiefs, and now it's a big deal. Now he's cheating. Now the Chiefs are getting away with everything. I mean, remember Joey Bosa losing his bleep on the field, the Chargers and Jags, because he felt like Juwan Taylor was getting a head start and was false starting. All we were watching and talking about was the Chargers blowing the lead. Then Juwan Taylor played against the Chiefs in the divisional round and was doing the same thing. Same formation he would line up in. Same kick drop right at the snap or a little bit before. Nobody said a word. Then he joins the Chiefs, and now, the Chiefs get away with cheating. Even though he was called for 10 penalties in the first 4 weeks. And that's tough to recover from in terms of your overall grades.
Sure.
Because it's hard for an offensive lineman to do anything over the course of the game that is good enough to overcome getting a couple of 10-yard penalties.
Agreed.
There's just, what can you really do in terms of grading to where you're that much better when you've already cost your team 20 yards and holding penalties are, can be drive killers. And that was, Juwan Taylor a couple of years ago, and of course the illegal formations and false starts and things like that.
Because he did have a pretty good stretch from weeks 7 on in 23. And he started getting more penalties, doesn't he? Kind of pick back up. But again, you see the stretches of 3 to 4 games of Juwan Taylor last year and in 23. We go, okay, I see it. And then
I just think it matters like how much somebody, what's the view of you before the news comes out? Because people like Jalen Watson. And then Jalen Watson had surgery after the Super Bowl, and it was like, oh my God, that dude played through the shoulder injury?
But he played well.
Right, but we also like Jalen Watson. He played well for a guy who was a 7th-round pick.
I think he played well for
a
CB2.
Right, for a 7th-round pick, not a guy that was $20 million a year. That was your free agent acquisition for the offensive line. There's a lot more pressure, and higher expectations placed on Jawan Taylor than Jalen Watson when you had McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed, and then Jalen Watson. So being viewed that way is like, wow, how tough is that dude? He played through all of that, came back, and still played. Wow, that was really good. Where if you don't really like the guy, it can be dismissed and it can be viewed as, well, that's just an excuse for why he didn't play
It's
well.
not liking the guy. It's the monetary constraints.
But that's
Jawan Taylor might be the
people do not
great
like
guy.
People do not like Jawan Taylor because of the money he's making.
Sure,
They do
but
not
also
like him
that
because
if
of
you
the
don't
money.
want the pressure, then don't take
I'm
money.
not saying he doesn't like the
It's
pressure.
the whole Jerome Tang thing. It's
But
like
I'm
has
not
more.
saying-
No, I know you're not saying
But
that.
Jawan Taylor's not talking about the pressure to live up.
I'm not saying he is either, but I'm saying that's what it comes with the criticism.
When we view what Andrew Wiley did at right tackle, there's a different prism we viewed it as, like, wow, he's playing really well. Because
100%.
nothing was expected. But Jawan Taylor comes in, there's an expectation to be much better, and when he doesn't live up to that, it's like, this guy's a bum, he sucks, because he's graded through the $20 million lens, not the just what is he as a right tackle compared to what Andrew Wiley was as a right tackle.
And I'll never say he's a bum or he sucks. I just say he's not lived up to the contract. He's not.
Right, but there are people that want him cut.
Which is absurd. They don't know how the cap works.
Right, you should cut him. Yes, of course. They should take a $7 million extra dead cap hit this year to move on from somebody that at minimum could be your backup right tackle, if anything. Like, it's absurd to think about that. But Jalen Watson is viewed as through the prism of a seventh rounder. If he played exactly the same way that he plays as his first rounder, people wouldn't be as high on Jalen Watson. Be like, oh, he's fine as a first rounder, but he's battled injuries and he hasn't been as good. Sometimes he grades out well, sometimes he doesn't. Trent McDuffie, first rounder, amazing. And it's like, wow, we love Trent McDuffie. You got that one right. Plus, it sort of throws it in the face of the Bills that took Kyrie Elam.
No, it's kind of it was like Clyde. If he would have been a fifth rounder, no one would. If he and Pacheco would have been switched,
Yeah. Right.
I think
Like,
seriously, actually, that's good. If him and Pacheco would have been switched, their careers are actually very similar.
Well, and that's where
Think about it.
Right, but
If
that's
the
where-
injuries have derailed CH, the injuries have derailed Pacheco, but we still love Pacheco because seventh rounder pop. It's the same situation.
But that's where the view is colored by the draft pick or the money you're making. And people that just simply don't think Jawan Taylor is good, or don't want him on the team, or don't like him based on they don't think he's good in the penalties, will hear this and probably just dismiss it and say, well, that's an excuse. It may just be an excuse. What I'm saying is there was a little credit given to somebody that could have had season-ending surgery, but the Chiefs were so depleted anyway, trying to figure out what was going on at left tackle. Joe Tooney moves out there to tackle. You got Caliendo playing guard. You had to bring in DJ Humphries, where would you rather have Jawan Taylor at right tackle or, maybe Wanya Morris? I don't know. Maybe Wanya Morris would have been better. Against the Denver Broncos, Wanya Morris looked fine.
Yeah.
But also, against the Denver Broncos, Kings looked fine. Hunter Norzad looked fine. DJ Humphries looked fine.
One Morris looked fine in a game stretch or a two-game stretch. It's the elongated period where he gets, I think, exposed.
Right, so if you take the money away from him, you just say, player on the field, would you rather have what Jawan Taylor was bringing or Wanya Morris? I'd rather have the bird in the hand of what Jawan Taylor was bringing. He's making a whole lot more money than Wanya Morris. And the Chiefs could have had Wanya Morris at right tackle if he decides that, the pain is too much and next year's going to be my last year. I've got to go and have surgery and end the season. But he played through it. And maybe that was never even a consideration because it wasn't part of the process. Maybe it was part of the, you don't have to have season-ending surgery, dude. You can work through this. If it gets worse to a degree, then we have to address that. But for now, you're fine. You don't have to have that. Okay, you did this in college. You played through it. Okay, fine. He said it was never a consideration. Maybe it was never a consideration because the doctors also did not advise him that you need to go and have season-ending surgery. So there's part of that, too. He has to play better this year than he has the last couple of years. Maybe he does because of a knee injury, or maybe this is just simply the guy that he is, and the Chiefs are biting the bullet and taking their medicine with the $27 million cap hit because they're simply going to move on from him at the end of this year, and Jalen Moore then slides in. Or maybe Jalen Moore becomes right tackle throughout the season. Either way, he has to play better. I just wonder if there's a little bit of grace given. And I doubt it. I doubt it, especially from the detractors, if there's a little grace given, if he was a guy that was dealing week in and week out, having his knee trained every week, and then having surgery after the season, while being out there every week, fighting through it. For $20 million, you'd hope somebody would fight through it, but also not performing at the level you would hope that he would perform. But it's a good point, Sterling, in that the grades in 2023 were actually worse than what they were last year. So if that's a knee injury, what was 23's excuse? We'll take a time out, we'll come back and continue rolling. What's up next? All right, we're continuing right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with Sterling Holmes, the Drake. Hall of Fame induction ceremony over the weekend. Jared Allen going to the Hall of Fame. Talked about the Hunt family, how much he loved being around the Hunt family. Lamar Hunt's hugs. Didn't matter if you were dressed or naked. He'd come up and give you the big bear hug after the game was over.
Would you care? Let's say Clark Hunt's coming up to you. Let's say Clark. Clark's walking up to you in the locker room. Would you care, or as long as you get a hug, you're fine?
Well, I would say that when you're in that setting, it's just sort of natural that you're just going to be, you're going to be changing clothes, taking showers. It's just sort of the mindset you have at the time. So yeah, probably not. Towel on him, and thank you, man. Good game. Absolutely. Yep, good game. I'd be slap ass. Good game, slap ass. That'd be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny from Jared Allen. It didn't matter, but talked about the Hunt family giving him the opportunity that he had dreamed of as a little kid to play NFL football. And then, of course, it was on him to take advantage of those opportunities. And it is amazing to see and hear Jared Allen's speech and talk about his wife, talk about his two girls. From what he was in Kansas City to now being the man of extreme dedicated faith. And as he said, if I go into heaven and all they're talking to me about is this gold jacket and what I did as a football player, then I failed because of being a father and a husband and the girls being his legacy, not his playing days. He finally cried. He had the bets about whether he was going to cry or whatever. And then he got to the end, and finally the tears started rolling when he started talking about his wife and especially his daughters. It was just really cool to see the transformation from somebody as a young, immature. I mean, there's a little Kelsey. There's some Kelsey stuff, a little bit different early on with Jared Allen's career with the partying, and he got arrested for the DUI and needing to get rides everywhere and things like that. But there's also the heart that's there because Jay Glazer talked about that when he was at his worst, when he was at his lowest point, Jay Glazer, when he stopped fighting, Fox told him he couldn't fight anymore, he was going through an ugly divorce. It was Jared Allen every day that was with him. Like, all right, let's get out of the house. Let's go do this. All right, we're going to come over here. We're going to go work out. Nope, I'm getting you out of the house. We're doing this. Like, wouldn't let him become lower and lower. And it seems like Travis Kelce is that guy. I mean, it was Kadarius Toney that said the one guy that always checked, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the PTSD that said the one guy
Tony. I think he has both.
But the one guy that always checked on him was Travis Kelce. Just kept checking on him. And so there's a lot of, and we hear about Jason Kelce and that brotherly love and what people think of Travis, but there's that maturing process along the way, and to see Jared Allen go, and look, Kelsey's going to be wearing a gold jacket, and he's going to be crying up there as well. The guy cries, many different times, but he's going to be crying up there. And from Kelsey getting kicked out of Cincinnati to then being a first ballot Hall of Famer, and then Jared Allen from what was going on early in his time here in Kansas City to then being a guy who's up there talking about his faith and his family and the girls and legacy. And I don't care about football as part of it, but the real legacy is my family, and I'd rather be a Hall of Famer as a husband and a father and a dad,
I can't wait for Happy Gilmore 3 when Travis Kelce does have a gold jacket, and Shooter then is like, shoot, even Travis Kelce has a gold jacket and I don't. Right? I feel like that could be a good aspect of it. I do think it's interesting about like the whole Jay Glazer and as far as Kelce helping CEH, because I think guys who have been, and Kelce never really got to that super down period. I mean, we knew some of the maybe the temper or the party and then the catching Kelce, immaturity. But I think it's guys who have been there, they're like, I've been there. I've understood that. I know where I went wrong. I think I can help you because I've been there.
Or maybe I would have liked somebody to do this.
Sure.
When I was at my lowest. Or maybe somebody did. When I was at my lowest, somebody did this. And I'm going to make sure that I can be that for somebody else and help them along the way. But it was a cool story to hear that from Jay Glazer. Like, you get an idea of people behind the scenes, what's going on. So it was cool to see Jared Allen go into the Hall of Fame. Good on him. We'll be talking with Kendall Gammon weekly during the football season.
Let's go.
The man who gave Jared Allen the calf roping celebration.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jared Allen was trying to figure out what to do. And Kendall Gammon had the idea. It was like, well, you do the it's like, why don't you do like the calf roping thing? And Jared Allen was like, oh my God, that's a great idea. And then did it. So Kendall Gammon, Jared Allen's main sack celebration. Kendall Gammon, Joel Penfield next. All right, now we're here on Monday edition of the Zone. Jason Anderson with Sterling Holmes, the Drake. Joel Penfield, One Royal Way podcast, joining us here in the Zone. Joel, what's up, man? How are you?
How's it going? Fantastic. Glad to be here, guys.
Well, I appreciate it. Last week we talked about Seth Lugo being signed and knowing that the Royals were probably not going to be sellers at the trade deadline. We know they were not. They were buyers. Some people have said that they threaded the needle of sort of trying to get better this year long term. Let's start there before we get into the weekend series against the Blue Jays.
I knew he was excited because he texted me.
Okay.
Is that Friday night?
Friday night. Yeah.
Friday night, Joel texted me as the Royals are putting it on the Blue Jays about all the trades. Yes, it's a home run. And he goes, dude. First, he sends me a picture of him drinking bourbon of the hard truth. And he goes, I can't wait for Monday.
So clearly excited, but what's your assessment and takeaway from what they were able to accomplish? I want to throw Lugo in there as well, but we talked about that last week.
Yes.
But the trade deadline and how they essentially are moving forward this season.
I thought JJ did an incredible job getting value. Losing Freddie sucks because we like Freddie. He's a good player. Having a good backup catcher is a good asset. However, you need to go get value for that guy, especially with Luke Maile in the room and Carter Jensen waiting in the wings. Going and getting two controllable big league arms for him is, incredible. I know that AJ Preller was, giving out prospects like hotcakes on Thursday anyway. So
you get a prospect, and you get a prospect, and you get
that guy just took a scoop of pre-workout. I was like, you know what? I'm trading everybody today. I don't care. But to get those guys, and then you get Bailey Falter for 3.5 years of a quad A reliever and a high A first baseman. And you get that guy with familiarity with Brian Sweeney, so there's clearly something there that the Royals covet with him. And then Yaz as a rental, like it upgrades your outfield. It's not the sexiest move in the world, but it makes you a lot better 330 on base. It's hard to argue. I think they did a great job getting better for right now, adding in Berger, Kolick, Falter to your pitching staff now. Yaz upgrades you now, and moving forward, you have a wealth of starting pitching and depth for 2026 and 2027. Now it's a matter of, okay, what are you going to be able to do in the offseason for a bat? But we can cross that bridge when we get there. But I think they did a fantastic job.
Is this what the level you thought they were going to go with? Is some of the peripheral moves? I didn't know they were going to bring in as many arms. Focus maybe on a bat, but we also talked about what Scott Sharp said on A New Day, which felt like it was going to be more of a Lorenzen type. They were going to be looking for arms, and they needed arms, and their next two starting pitchers they acquired on Thursday.
Yeah, but when I looked at those kind of periphery moves we talked about, I thought it would be a Lorenzen-type rental or something along that line. And instead, you get Ryan Bird, who's a rookie you have through 2030. You have Stephen Kolick through 2029. You have Bailey Falter through 2028. That is not just, to me, those are not just periphery moves. That's getting better for now and for the future. And not just, all right, let's take our shot now and then we'll dip into free agency next year. You don't really have to do that. Like the Royals, it allows them to allocate money elsewhere, especially when you have three guys who are all pre-arb. I think Falter may be going to his first year of arbitration.
He is his first year of arbitration.
Okay, thank you. But two of the three guys you go and get with control are still pre-arb, frees up a little bit. And it allows you to decline the $12 million mutual option with Michael Lorenzen, which frees up some money for 2026 as well.
Yeah, and J.J. Piccolo said the 2024 is better and the future is brighter with this. I also appreciated when he talked about how you go into the offseason and because they get the deal done with Lugo, last year got the deal done with Waka, and now they bring in Bergert and Kolick and Falter to go along with getting Chris Bubich back, team control.
They get Cole Reagans in that. But gives you some depth. They mess with his pitch arsenal a little bit. Like, hey, less fastballs and 2-strike counts. Let's add a slider, add a sweeper. We'll mix your percentages a little bit. And he's done some of the best pitching in his career in Kansas City with these guys. So obviously the familiarity that Sweeney has with Falter, they're going to be able to game plan something pretty quickly. I'm curious what they end up doing with Berger, but I trust those guys implicitly to maximize what they have in front of them right now with these new pitchers.
How much does it affect you or color your opinion of a trade with the reaction of social media of the fans? Because sometimes it's like fans can be irrational.
Of course.
They can
Fan is short for fanatic, yes.
They can fall in love with the player and ignore all the faults. They could hate a player and ignore all of the positives. But it seemed to be the general sort of overwhelming majority of Padres fans were not happy that Bergert was being traded. And I saw a couple of them that were like, and even people that were covering the team were like, I wouldn't even do Bergert for Freddie straight up.
Yeah.
And you give up Kolek too? Like, what in the heck is going on? It seemed like the Royals really stood firm that this is the asking price for Freddie. We can trade him in the offseason because that's one of the things, Joel, that JJ said is, well, we could have moved him in the offseason too. We don't have to move him now. You're the team that needs a catcher. You're the team that's got a 500 OPS catcher. This guy's a better defensive catcher than both of your guys, and he's a better offensive player. This is the asking price. And clearly they're in the afternoon at 2 o'clock Central Time. They decide that they're going to do it because JJ had said that, well, you could tell the week before that, there's a reason why it took till Thursday is because we held firm on our asking price. How much do you put in stock of like what the other fans are saying about a specific player and what they thought of him? Because Bergert seems to be the one out of Falter, Kolek, Berger, Yaz, the one that people were like, well, this is BS.
Yeah, I admittedly did not know much about Berger or Kolek. I knew Kolek's name, but I really didn't know much about him. And then you go and see the reaction. It's like, I cannot believe we gave these guys up. And it's not, I don't think it was necessarily that fans were like, why did we give them up for Freddie? I think they understand that Freddie's a good player. But giving up those two guys is like, oh boy. And that's when I went, okay, maybe the Royals did get something here. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of years is that JJ handles the deadline really well and is able to maximize value for the players that he is trading and also getting back value for that. Like the Lucas Erceg trade looks like a heist right now given the reliever market that we saw this year.
Oh my God.
Giving up Mason Barnett, Will Klein, who is on his third team since getting DFA'd by the A's, and Jared Dickey, who's just got to Double-A after 2 go-rounds at High A. Like, if the Royals tried to make a move for a reliever this year,
what would Erceg have gone for this year?
He would have gone. It would have probably cost Jensen or Mitchell.
I mean, the A's clearly misread that by trading Erceg last year.
And we said that then. We go, how was that all it took to get back?
From what Tanner Scott brought from the other relievers that were there? Like, this is all you got for Erceg?
Yeah, and with
all, this is all you gave up,
with the controllable years that Erceg had too. Like the Tanner Scott cost an arm and a leg for a rental.
Yeah.
Like it's bonkers what the reliever market's been.
Yeah, of course San Diego's willing to just trade anybody.
No, they'll trade anybody. I mean, they'll trade their one of the top 3 prospects in all of baseball for a reliever.
Yeah. Why do you think the Royals targeted these specific players?
Well, I do think it is they're not swimming in the Mason Miller market and like some of like the top end markets, the Yohan Durans and whoever else. Like they don't have the prospect capital or the willingness to give up some of these prospects because a small market team covets those types of guys more than a San Diego or a Dodgers or whoever else. Sure. But I think they recognize traits that certain guys have, and that's the thing. Like Bailey Falter, if you look at the Savant stuff, it's not great. But the fastball plays incredibly well. It's an elite extension with a high induced vertical break at 93. He can become like a Chris Bubich type clone. I think that's where you see why they covet Bailey Falter.
You did it. This is what I was talking about on Friday. I said it's the extension, especially with the lefty, with the four-seam fastball. It sits at 92. Like in the vertical movement.
Yes.
This I think is a trait. So I'm glad that you said it because that's what I came up with in we came to these conclusions separately, but I think there's a lot of underlying reasons. I do think this is what the Royals are coveting right now. It's induced vertical break with four-seam fastballs, and it doesn't have to be overpowering because the overpowering guys are going to cost so much to try and acquire, so they do the next tier down, but the fastball is still effective. It just doesn't look as sexy.
And Ryan Bergert's the exact same thing. It's not, but though he's more 95 to 96 from the right side with 18 to 20 inches of induced vertical break. So you're seeing the Royals are getting good fastballs for the first time in, I don't know, ever, because the previous regime, it was sinker, slider. We're going to get a lot of ground balls. We're not going to worry about strikeouts, none of that stuff. Now it's like, well, we kind of need to get with the times a little bit and go and draft good fastballs and go and trade for and acquire good fastballs.
Bergert's ground ball percentage is in the 7th percentile.
Yeah.
He's going to get a lot of fly balls. He's going to get some strikeouts, obviously. He's about a, 9 per 9, and I think especially in the current K, that plays very, very well.
Well, and one of the things that I was looking at, too, and this is where we see what costs money. We know what it costs to get Mason Miller now.
Yes.
Suarez is going to make
Yohan Duran.
Yohan Duran, right. Emmanuel Clase. We know what it costs, probably his career.
It would have cost.
is what it costs.
There it is.
For him. And so the Royals have, outside of the bullpen, like those are bullpen guys, but the starting staff, Reagans is a guy that has crazy stuff, right? We know that. But Bubic is a guy that, is a pitcher and movement, deception. Lugo is...
They tweaked his fastball quite a bit.
Lugo is a junior professor for Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux light, in terms of the thinking and the 11 different pitches and the different grips and the changing speeds. Walk is a guy that's just simply, he's a rock. He's just going to be steady every night out there. You sort of know what to expect from him. And Noah Cameron is a guy that's kind of burst onto the scene, but is also a guy that's not a highly touted prospect that's throwing 98 and 99. You bring in Bergert, a guy who has a slider and a sweeper and a lot of movement. And the Royals clearly, to me, are looking at where the deficiencies or where they can be most efficient in the market in that 101 and 102 cost too much money. So let's go movement and deception with our pitchers, with Sweeney and Bobe. Let's maximize the pitches they use. Let's look at their biomechanics and how this pitch and shape looks like for them, and let's get the most out of them that way to save a little money, because we're not going to be able to pay for somebody to throw 99 or we're not paying for Tariq Skubal. He's going somewhere else, and that's going to cost a lot of money. So Bergert is a guy whose fastball isn't 98, 99, but is a guy with a slider and a sweeper that has really crazy movement on it.
And Stephen Kolek, similarly, that guy's going to sink it, cut it, slide it, do
ground
all
ball
sorts
rate
of stuff.
for him is really good.
So, and I thought it was interesting. I have a friend that works for another organization in baseball ops and research and development, and when that trade went down, he texted me and said, Kolek's the guy in this trade.
Whoa, okay.
And that was not to necessarily say that Bergert isn't, but there is the profile with a 51% ground ball rate. If they're able to maximize a couple more pitches for him, at worst, it's like Adam Ottavino type reliever, where it's kind of a funky low 3/4 delivery, sinker, slider, cutter, sweeper, just going to move it all around with enough strikeouts to go with. You know what? I'm just going to go get you a ground ball here. Like a little bit of like a souped up John Schreiber, a little bit.
I was going to say maybe it's a John Schreiber type guy.
The slot's a little higher than Schreiber, but similar sort of profile.
But you want ground balls and things like that. And one of the things that came out, like Stuff Plus is out there, and looking at Bergert's most recent start on July 29th, this was against the New York Mets, and pitchers with a minimum of 50 pitches, Stuff Plus graded number 1, Joe Boyle, number 2, Tyler Glasnow, number 3, Ryan Bergert. Yeah. And then Casey Mize, Verlander, Severino, Alcantara, Lodolo, Kikuchi, Ryan Bergert, Stuff Plus. That particular night against the Mets was the third best of any pitcher in baseball on July 29th, and he'll be going tomorrow night for the Royals against the Red Sox. So I'm excited to see him pitch as well.
Yeah, he threw one pitch to Francisco Lindor. I'm trying to find it, where I think it was something along the line of 95 with 22 inches of induced vertical break and 2,300 spin. Like, oh, that'll play.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We talked a lot in the first hour, Joel Penfield's our guest, about this Royals offense and what they've been doing since July, since the All-Star break. They scored 3.3 runs per game heading into July. So through June 30th, 85 games, 3.3 runs per game. It was really bad. 27 games since then, they are scoring 4.8 runs per game since July 1st. Since the All-Star break, they're scoring 5.5 runs per game. So 85 game stretch, 3.3, 27 game stretch, 4.8, and seems like it's getting better and better. Do you believe that this offense is maybe closer to this than it was the 3.3? Is this a hot stretch that the other shoe is about to fall, and right around the corner is a cold stretch that this offense can't score? What do you make of what we've seen from this offense, and is this closer to who they're going to be these final 50 games?
Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but I think it's closer to what we've seen recently than what we saw in the first 85 games. And part of that is they raised the floor of the offense significantly by going and getting Adam Frazier and Randall Grichuk and Mike Yastrzemski. Just solid veteran dudes that have been there, done that. They're going to provide good plate appearances. They're going to give you enough offensively. They're going to get on base at a decent clip. You have a legitimate platoon with Grichuk and Yaz, if that's how you want to handle it. It's just the floor is so much higher than when some of the outfields and some of the 6 through 9 that the Royals were running out in the lineup day in, day out in April, May, and June. It's so much different now. Like you see the 1 through 6 on the Friday lineup when after they acquired Yaz, that first game against the Blue Jays, and it goes India, Bobby, Vinny, Michael, Salvi, Yaz. Like that 1 through 6, like, okay, that'll produce, that'll play. And then some combination of Randall Grichuk, Adam Frazier, Luke Maile, Kyle Isbell, who's been playing well lately, Tyler Tolbert in a pinch if you need it. Like it is such a different offense just by adding a couple of guys in that are just veterans that aren't flashy. Like it makes a significant difference because those guys are getting on base, and then the top of the order is able to come up with runners on and not have to do it all by themselves. And some of those guys at the bottom of the order are starting to produce as well. And it doesn't have to be everybody 6 through 9 has to produce every single night, but can Adam Frazier have a 2-run homer late in the game to help really put it away? Can Kyle Isbell come up with a big hit every once in a while? And just one of those guys a couple times a week comes through for a 2 or 3 game stretch, takes a lot of pressure off the offense.
How do you handle Salvi moving forward? Because Luke Maile is not going to play as often as Freddie Fermin.
No.
And if Luke Maile plays, does that mean that Salvi is going to DH? Because, again, you've got fewer off days behind the plate for Salvi. Salvi, in his last 60 games, and I worried about Salvador Perez this year through middle of May, because we were looking at it and saying, boy, last year, what Salvi did and to end the season, and now these first whatever games in May, it's almost a year's worth of baseball that he has not been good. Like, he had a crazy start to last year, which sort of carried him throughout the year.
Yeah, he
and
was
his
fine
numbers.
for the last couple months, but not anything great.
But not Salvi. And so, he was not great through middle of May. Last 60 games, not only has he been good, he's been one of the better hitters in baseball.
Yep.
Salvi, in the last 60 games, is batting .290, getting on base at .340, and slugging .584. He's got a .923 OPS, and he's hit 18 home runs in that time, which would be a pace of 49 for a season. So what we're watching is Salvi a few years ago when he hit 48 home runs in a season. That's what we're watching right now over 60 games. It's a big reason why the offense has been better, because they're hitting home runs at the 8th best clip since July. Or 6th best clip, I should say. They're number 6 in baseball.
They found it a little bit after being historically terrible for the first couple of months.
So what do you do with Salvi? Are you conservative over these last 50 games to try to make sure you get him at the end of the season? Or do you just simply ride him because by resting him, if you lose a game here or there, it's not going to matter come October if you can't get into the playoffs?
I think they'll continue to move him around. Luke Maile will probably play once, twice a week. I think late game subs are going to be a significant part of it as well, where, hey, let's, 7th inning, you're up 7-2, something like that. All right, hey, let's get Maile in there. Salvi go to first. Vinny come off, however they want to do it. Or Jack, if he's playing first when he comes back. There's still enough at-bats to go around where you don't feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself to, well, if Salvi's not catching, then we're really in a bind. I don't think it's necessarily that. There's enough versatility with the offense and the roster as a whole that there's enough at-bats to go around first base, DH, catcher that they can still find the rotation fine. Maile has a decent enough track record. He can probably give you Freddie Fermin-ish production for the next 2 months. He's been around and done that for a long time, and he's a solid defender as well.
So Salvi, can they survive, though, if you say once a week? not twice a week, but once a week if his bat is just simply out of the lineup?
I don't think so. I think he'll still fight, and that guy will fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Like he will not let it stand if he is not in the lineup.
Yeah.
If he's healthy.
Yeah. So what I had talked about is if you want him to be fresh in late September, those last couple of weeks where every single game will feel like it's worth 2 or 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
If you want him to be fresh then and playing like this, how conservative do you have to be along the way with now Fermin gone and the expectation that Salvi is going to catch a lot more? And what I had sort of thought is, with Salvi, if he's not catching, do you just simply give him a day off and not even DH him at that point, especially when Kaggs comes back? Because then, if Kaggs is just going to be your everyday DH, can you afford Salvi not in the lineup? But with Thursday off this week, I think he should catch the next 3 nights.
Correct.
Because there is not a getaway day for the Boston series on Wednesday.
It's all 3 day games. And normally, if there's a night game, day game, he's not catching the day
so it's night games there. And then Friday and Saturday are night games, and then it's an afternoon game. So mainly you're going to catch on Sunday. Because he gets the day off on Thursday, I would be fine with Salvi at DH on Sunday. Plus he destroys the Twins in Target Field, so I'd be fine with him DHing there. It's just a matter of if it's 5 or 6 or a 7-game stretch, and he's catching. It might be better just to give him the complete day off and not, you've got the day off behind the plate, but you're going to be DHing here. Just these last 50 games are
I
crucial.
think his bat is far too important for them to not let him. And if it is a day off, he is available to pinch hit.
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
for
not.
sure.
Yeah, you're still suiting up and you're getting a couple at bats, and it could be a late game it's against the lefty that Vinny struggles against, or whatever. Hey, you're going to pinch hit for Vinny, and you're going to go play first for the last 3 innings or whatever it is. Get 6 innings off and then go play. But I think he's too important for what this team needs from him right now for him to take a day off unless he is really banged up and hurt. And even then, Salvi's going to fight to be in the lineup no matter what.
They've played 629 baseball since July. They're 17-10 since the beginning of July, 629 baseball. 87 wins is what it looks like it's pacing for the final playoff spot, for the final wild card. To get to 87 wins, they need to be 31-19, which is exactly 629 baseball. So
they have to keep up the same pace.
They have to play exactly the last 50 games the way they have played the first 27. And to put it into perspective, that would be 87 games of 629 base, or 77 games of 629 baseball. The Milwaukee Brewers have the best record in baseball, and they're playing at a 604 clip. So it would be almost a half a season as the best team in baseball for them to get to 87 wins. I think it's possible because we've seen what they've done these previous 27, and there are some stretches where they could bank a number of games in a row. They've won 4 straight series where there are some easier teams on the schedule. Let's start with these final 2 series of the road trip. These 6 games, they start off 2-1. Is there a record that you look at and say, I'd like to at least see this over these 6 games before they return home to let me know that they are still serious contenders and they have not slid back after that start against Toronto on the road trip?
I think 4-2. Like they have to keep doing this. Like 3-3 if you're competitive against Boston and say you lose 2 of those 3 and then you go and you rip off the series against the Twins and win another one, then okay, that's
acceptable.
It's a long road trip. You go at that point you're 5-4 on that road trip, something like that. So at that point I would be fine. But I think they have to get some games. They have to keep them up because they're 7-3 in the last stretch and they picked up a half game.
Yes.
I think in the last. So you need to rip off a serious win streak after you play Boston. Then you get Minnesota, Washington, and the White Sox at home. So that's a 9-game stretch where you probably can rip off 6-7 games because the Twins, obviously, they punted on this season and nuked their roster.
Yeah.
Washington is still bad, and the White Sox are still bad. Those are the teams you have to take advantage of. That's part of this stretch in the second half where they have the second easiest schedule. You have to take advantage of those 9 games. It's probably the most important before Texas comes to town, which is probably the most important series of the season to this point, after you play Boston, which is the most important series that you're going to play this far.
If you believe in the Royals making the playoffs, give me your best Cher impersonation.
I can't.
Believe in Royals making the
In baseball after October or September?
Really
See?
do think
Jason
there's a
believes.
chance
Joel,
I
do you believe?
I do believe it.
You're
I'm
here,
not,
believe.
I'm just not singing. That's just something I do
Joel,
not
come
do.
on. You would have sang Friday night when you texted me.
That is-
Guaranteed.
No.
Guaranteed.
There's
Joel would
not,
have.
there is not enough
believe
alcohol
this girl
for me
runs after
to
runs?
sing, let alone be sober. Can't do it.
Do you believe
Thank you,
in
Drake.
Runs after runs.
Thank you, Drake. Come on, Joel.
My wife's gonna shame me, but I can't do it.
Do you
I
believe?
really do
I
think the
believe, I
light is
believe.
strong enough.
It's not happening.
In Royals baseball after September.
Do you believe, Joel?
Do you believe,
I
Joel?
do, but it's not happening.
Do you feel something inside yourself?
that says you think the offense is strong enough?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yes, dude.
This song has a very specific core memory for me.
What's the memory?
Not gonna say.
Is it a good one or whoa?
I've told you off the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep,
told you off the air.
Yep.
What this was for. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter, people. It's not that. Jeez Louise. Unbelievable.
He's talking
So-
about.
No, thank God Mick's not here because that's also not what it would be. Joel, do you believe in life after love?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for hanging out with us, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
I love
He's
it
a
every time.
believer.
Thank you guys very
He's a
much.
believer. We'll see what the Royals can do over these final 6 games of this road trip. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, the Drake. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. Learn Funniest Best coming up in the 1 o'clock hour as well. Talked a lot of Royals today. We talked Chiefs in the 11 o'clock hour. Discussing the depth chart that was released, what the meaning of that, not much to it, but just observations from the initial depth chart released. It's always something to discuss and talk about. Juwan Taylor with the details of the knee injury that he was playing through last year. We talked about that as well. I was watching the
Cher. Talked about Cher.
We talked about Cher
as well.
Yep. What share of the wild card race are the Royals going to be a part of? We know that, right now they're sitting 3.5 games back, and that's part of what, Joel was saying to continue playing at that level. They're 17-10 in the month of June. They've gained 2 games.
Yeah.
They've gone from 5.5 out to 3.5 out, but they've also passed 3 teams along the way. They were 5.5 games out chasing 6 teams.
Yeah.
They're 3.5 out chasing 3.
I'll also point out the Yankees are in a free fall. I didn't know which team we thought it was going to be in the wild card that the Royals were going to have to try and catch. Is it the Mariners, the Red Sox? It's starting to look like the Yankees might be the team how great would that be?
Hilarious.
With their blunders perpetually on the base pass. If you're watching Jazz Chisholm making decisions that I think a 6-year-old knows better. I think it might be the Yankees now that the Royals will be in the fight for the final wild card spot with.
Yeah, that would be because right now they're chasing Seattle. Seattle's in the 3rd wild card spot, but I worry about how much Seattle got better at the trade deadline. Boston is playing great baseball.
Yeah,
8-2 in their last 10 games. Royals 7-3 in their last 10 games.
Now
Yankees
this is a
struggling.
great chance though for the Royals to
100%.
make. And I know it's easy to say, well, why can't they play the White Sox right now or the Athletics? But also the point I like to make at it, this is an opportunity. Because if you do take 2 or 3 or you sweep the Red Sox, how much closer now are you?
2.5. That's how much. They're 5.5 out right now.
But that's my point is
you could be 5.5, you could be 4.5, you could be 2.5, you could be 6.5, or you can be 8.5 out.
So I like to think
series.
of this as an opportunity. While yes, it would be great to play the Athletics right now or the White Sox, hell, take care of business against the Red Sox, and you're playing good ball right now. This is a good opportunity for the Royals to try and catch them.
No, I think the 3 games against the Blue Jays, and certainly yesterday, was so massive. Yesterday was so massive for them to win that game because it's a different feel to it if they're 1-2 starting off this road trip. Because, again, the last time they had a 3-city road trip, they went 2-8. And now they've got this 3-city road trip. They're starting out 2-1. They're already better. There are already as many wins so far as they had on that really rough 3-city road trip earlier in the season. And if you go 3-3 the rest of the way, it's not ideal. But if you go 3-3, you have gone through a stretch of a 9-game road trip to Toronto, to Boston, to Minnesota, and you're above 500 in that stretch. You return home with the Nationals and the White Sox. Or you can even break it up to these next 3 games. If you go 3-3 against Toronto and Boston, since they're 2-1, if they go 1-2 the next 2, go 3-3 against Toronto and Boston. Off day, now it's 9 games against Twins, Nationals, and White Sox. Then in that stretch, in those 9 games, that's where you can really see if this is a team that's going to be making a run or not. Because I feel like in the 9 games starting Friday, 6-3 almost feels like the minimum there.
Yeah.
Like winning all of those series against the Nationals, the White Sox, and the Twins. You've got teams that were all sellers at the trade deadline, and the Twins sold off 45% of their entire roster was traded away last Thursday.
But then again, you have another great opportunity against the Rangers August 18th in a 4-game series at home. I mean, that's a massive series with a lot of implications, and I guess this is what I'm excited for is the Royals are in it. And I've seen a lot of national websites and publications, and I love it. They're giving the Royals a ton of credit for all these teams in the AL who were either sitting on the fence or they decided to sell. How massive is it when your ownership group, when your GM, and now, yes, part of it's probably the new stadium, which I'll acquiesce. Yeah, it makes it look a lot better. But the point still remains, they bought. How much better does that clubhouse feel? How much better does it feel to be a fan right now of a team that bought? If you're a Twins fan, how pissed are you right now?
Yeah.
Royals fans, we at least have optimism. You're at least excited. Cleveland, even, you're in the hunt. You're a half game better than KC, and you can't be too thrilled right now. Obviously, some betting allegations and the whole update on Clase and Ortiz allegedly, reportedly getting their lockers cleaned out.
Yeah.
Not ideal there. But again, you heard Vinny talk about it as well, saying how, as a player, seeing them buy in, you feel good. You feel, again, you're getting paid a lot of money to play baseball. I get that, but like, I still think it matters. It matters. So I love what the Royals are doing right now, and I'm glad to see a lot of national publications giving the Royals a ton of credit for, again, not mortgaging your future to go all in, but towing the line, getting better this year, and getting better for the future while trying to make, again, that final wild card spot.
Yeah, waking up on Thursday, I wonder where the Royals will be because, again, they've got a couple of they've got 3 games against one of the best teams, certainly in the American League, the 4th best team in the American League that is playing great baseball as of late, 8-2, while Cleveland heads to New York to face off against the Mets, another team that's, in the playoffs. New York and Texas play each other in the next 3 games. Those are 2 teams ahead of the Royals. Seattle faces the Chicago White Sox at home for 3.
Yeah.
So Seattle should be able, and in fact, Seattle, in theory, could be the second wild card after these next 3 games because they should sweep the White Sox at home. They should.
They could be the first wild card team if
that'd be
the
nice.
Royals do.
That'd be nice. That'd be great if that was the case.
Some neat things.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like those neat things. And so we'll see. These are 3 pretty big games. Bailey Falter goes tonight, and we'll see what Sweeney and Bove do with him. And I think that's one of the optimistic parts about this team is what the pitching coaching staff has been able to do for some of the guys on this team. And what can they do with Bailey Falter? Sweeney has the history with him. So, you know the type of guy that he is. You've worked with him before. This is not going in blind, eyes wide open, knowing what he throws, knowing what his pitch mix is, and sort of the game plan that they'll come up with against Boston. But a huge few games starting tonight.
What do you think the leash is for Bailey Falter? Because this is obviously a massive series. You don't really know him very well in regards to how does he pitch out of, stressful innings or stressful situations. In his last 5 starts, he's gone 5 2/3, 4 2/3, 4, 7, 5. Some inconsistencies in there as well. You've seen a 3 2/3. You've seen a 1 2/3 outing. You've seen another 7 inning, another 7 inning. I mean, like the inconsistencies from Falter seem to be vast. The issue is you used a lot of bullpen pieces last night.
Yeah.
I think the only one who's probably not good to go is Estevez, who threw 29 pitches last night. I don't blame Q for going to him. Once he's already up and warm, you might as well. You can't plan on him going 29 pitches. You think he's going to get out of it in his normal 15. Lucas Erceg pitched 20 last night. I don't know. What do you think here?
Waka's game on Friday night helped a lot because he went 8 innings and all they used was Taylor Hatch. Cruz isn't even available anymore with him going on the IL, those that pitched on Saturday. And Taylor Clark pitched almost 2 innings. Other than that, everybody that pitched yesterday hadn't pitched since before the trade deadline. Their last game, like Schreiber, Harvey, Estevez, Erceg, all pitched on that Wednesday when we talked about that 10-inning game.
Yeah.
That's the last time those guys went out and pitched before yesterday. So they had Thursday, Friday, and Saturday off. I don't think you want to go to Harvey tonight. I don't know that you're ready for a back-to-back with Harvey. With the way that he's pitching, you kind of want to handle him with kid gloves. And, he pitched yesterday, so do you want to pitch him tonight?
13 pitches, which is good, though, at least.
Right. I just, for now.
But I'm with you.
For the next couple, 3 weeks, you probably can, if you can avoid it, I'd probably try to avoid it with Harvey back-to-back nights.
Schreiber threw 12. I know it was an inning and a third, but 12, so he should be good. Daniel Lynch threw 14. Lucas threw 20.
Yeah.
And then it was Estevez with 29.
Yeah, that's the thing is with if you don't want to go back-to-back with Harvey, and then Ursek threw 20, and Cruz isn't available.
It had never crossed my mind before yesterday, but Lebo looked it up for me. You can now, in the Ghost Runner era, get a save with a 4-run lead because there's already a runner on base when you come in.
That's right. Wow.
I hadn't thought about it.
I hadn't thought about that.
It looked like for a second that maybe he was going to come in with a 4-run lead, and I thought,
Yeah.
well, maybe is he eligible for a save now that there's a stupid Ghost Runner already on second, and Lebo looked it up, and you can.
You should be, because he's got 3 blown saves in extra innings when he's given up the Ghost Runner. Like Estevez has 2 blown saves without giving up a run this year.
Or an earned run.
Yes.
Giving up an earned run, yes, without giving up an
So
earned run.
stupid.
Yes, so he's got that. I don't know that should count as a blown save, or a different category, blown saved Ghost Runners.
Yes, Robert Manfred. Stop ruining the game I love.
I like the Ghost Runner, so that's just me. I think it's fun. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I was watching the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Saturday, which got me thinking about this Chiefs team, and we'll talk about some of the names that may be up there one day. Who is, who isn't, who's on pace? We'll do that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, the Drake. We're in the middle of watching this Chiefs dynasty, much to the chagrin of the rest of the NFL. And watching the Hall of Fame speeches up there yesterday on Saturday and, seeing those players going into the Hall of Fame. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, in 20 years, 25, 30, I don't know, how many of these players that have been a part of this dynastic run with the 3 Super Bowls, anybody that's come along and played with the 3 Super Bowls, how many are wearing a gold jacket when it's all said and done as part of this dynasty? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, those 3 for sure, I think. Is Chris Jones wearing a gold jacket when he's done? I think he is.
Yeah, I don't think there's a question about that. I think Chris Jones clearly is.
Chris Jones, I looked at defensive tackles because if you look at Pro Football Focus, or Pro Football Reference, I should say, they have their Hall of Fame monitor with the average value or whatever that is with their way of judging players. And he's a decent ways away from being a Hall of Famer, which was a little surprising to me. But if I look at him compared to the most recent defensive tackles that have gone in the Hall of Fame, Aaron Donald's not in yet, so that's going to skew the stats a little bit. But the most recent that have gone in, Cortez Kennedy, John Randall, Warren Sapp, Bryant Young, at defensive tackle specifically. And Bryant Young is the one that's probably the biggest surprise because he made 4 Pro Bowls and he made 4 Pro Bowls and he was an All-Pro one time in his career. Bryant Young, in 14 years, he was All-Pro one time. He had 89.5 career sacks. Chris Jones is at 80.5 right now. Chris Jones played 9 years. Those other guys played at least 11. Cortez Kennedy played 11 years with 58 sacks, by the way. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. Chris Jones is a 6-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time All-Pro already.
First-team All-Pro.
Yes, it has to be first team.
Because
I'm looking at first
Aaron
teams
Donald really...
Yeah.
Aaron Donald really killed
but it has to be first-team All-Pro.
Jones early.
So he has 3 All-Pros. Cortez Kennedy had 3 All-Pros.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp had 4. John Randall's a little different. He had 6, and he had 137.5 sacks in his 14 years. But those other 4 guys combined to play in 2 Super Bowls, where Chris Jones has played in 5, and he's won 3 Super Bowls.
And he's been a catalyst in those. It's not like he's been
He's the best player on a defense that went to 5 of 6 Super Bowls. And he's been the best player every year that team has been there in the Super Bowl. I think he'll get more All-Pros with the recognition, the name recognition, and people seeing some of the things that he does that aren't just the counting stats. Like there was the plot graph that's out there, the 4 quadrants of where you want to be. You want to be in the top right corner, and it was the bottom was pressure rate, and the left was double team rate. So he was the 4th most double-teamed, or the most double-teamed defensive tackle with the 4th highest pass rush win rate of all defensive tackles out there. So he's getting double-teamed at a rate higher than anybody, yet he's winning at the 4th highest rate of all defensive tackles out there is Chris Jones. So that's going to limit a little bit what you're able to do. If he's... Warren Sapp had 96.5 sacks, 7 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros. If Chris Jones is an All-Pro this year in a Pro Bowl, that gives 7 Pro Bowls, 4 All-Pros. He's 16.5 sacks away from tying Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp played 4 more years. Difference being, here's where it could separate. Cortez Kennedy and Warren Sapp were both Defensive Players of the Year.
Yeah.
At least once in their career. John Randall was not, but he had 137.5 sacks. Bryant Young is the one that you look at and go, should he be in there? One time made an All-Pro, 89.5 sacks in 14 years, won a Super Bowl in his career, was never Defensive Player of the Year. Chris Jones, I don't think at this point is going to be Defensive Player of the Year unless he goes out there and has just an amazing 15 or 16 sack season. If he does in Defensive Player of the Year, then it's solidified. I think he's going to be wearing a gold jacket, and I think a lot of it, a good portion of it, certainly can be based on his play, but the postseason and him being the defensive face of the dynasty for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly close. I think he gets in, and maybe I'm not trying to look at it through red-colored glasses here, but he had. And by the way, I do think to your point, he's going to get more All-Pros and all these Pro Bowls. It's not just going to be sack numbers. He had 5 sacks last year and was first-team All-Pro. He had 15.5 sacks in 2018 and was second-team All-Pro, which doesn't count for this
and that was
conversation.
That was kind of him coming onto the scene as like, who's this Chris Jones guy?
And so I do think the AV, the approximate value, is starting to help him because last year he was a 16 on this scale. He was only a 10 the year he had 15.5. Wow. Part of it is because he's improved so much in run defense, where that whole knock against him was, well, he just gets after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, no, now he's good in stopping the run as well. He's a complete player. We know about the pressures versus sacks and how, year to year can be a little different. He had 20 quarterback hits last year, 5 sacks. He had 17 quarterback hits in 2021, but had 9 sacks. Again, it can be a little bit of a variance there to year.
Yeah.
We now know about the double team rate that Chris Jones experiences, one of the highest in the NFL. Not quite the Aaron Donald number when he was at his peak, but still it's getting pretty darn close. I think Chris Jones is... I think he's in, and part of it's the postseason conversation as well. I think an interesting one, and maybe the most fascinating one, is going to be Harrison Butker. I think Butker's going to be a really, really intriguing one.
I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer because of all the clutch kicks that he had. I had him down as listed as on the cusp.
Yeah,
but I think looking back over his career, and a couple of more years of kicking in the postseason, he's been incredibly clutch with game-tying or game-winning field goals in the postseason.
And that's what killed a lot of – it's almost like closers in baseball for a long, long time. Now we're going to start seeing more closers go in. I think we should start seeing more kickers go in. Nick Lowry, when he retired, was the all-time leading scorer, I believe, when he retired, and he didn't make it in, right? Because the postseason. I mean, there are some situations where you're like, that's surprising because – Gostowski, right, didn't make it in, or I don't think he's been up. Maybe I don't know what it is for New England. I mean, there are some situations where you look back and you go, "How is that guy not in the Hall of Fame?" Yeah. I do think Butker eventually will get in, but he's going to need more years. Creed Humphrey's way too early in his career to make any sort of talk. Trent McDuffie way too early in his career to get any sort of conversation.
But those are guys that are at least conversation worthy of having. Because if they continue on this trajectory of their career, they can be in. What about Tyreek Hill? Tyreek's in, I think.
Tyreek's probably in.
I brought that up because watching Sterling Sharp yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, Sterling played 7 years. He was good in those 7 years, but Tyreek's played 8 or 9.
And he's been elite.
But he's got 200 more receptions.
Yeah.
3,000 or 4,000 more yards, more touchdowns. One of the most dangerous players. Played on that first part of the Chiefs dynasty that went to 2 Super Bowls.
Joe Thuney might be in.
1-1. Joe Thuney's a really interesting one, too. Joe Thuney could be in. So it'd be 3, 6, 7, maybe 8 or 9 different players a part of this dynasty. Maybe
Tyrann
more.
Matthew?
I don't think Tyrann Matthew.
I don't think so either.
No, Tyrann Matthew's not going in. But it'll be interesting to watch along the way because Creed Humphrey's going to be an interesting one if he's viewed the next 3, 4, 5 years as the best center in football. How many All-Pros does he stack up? All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. A good pull by Mick Schaefer said, what about
what I'm known for.
He's good at pulling.
what about Terrell Suggs? Yeah, Terrell Suggs, that's a part of it. He played.
Won a Super Bowl.
He's got 139 sacks, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Ty Law, baby. Chiefs legend.
Defensive Rookie of the Year as well for Terrell Suggs.
But did Law ever play? He never played with Mahomes, right?
No.
We're talking about.
We're not counting that.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
Thank you for bringing up something that is
I'm
not
dumb.
actually part of this conversation as well. I don't know. What about Chester
Hey,
McLaughlin?
Jamal Charles.
What about Neil Smith? Does Neil Smith count as part
Ron
of this
Jerry, it's about time.
dynasty?
Fine, I'll
what
go.
about Albert Lewis?
I'll go truck myself.
Okay, very good. I'm just playing traffic there. Mick Schaefer is our guest. He is sponsored by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, and sports simulators, and yes, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. We were there on Saturday.
It's really that bar and grill. That's the big one.
We went there on Saturday to Advent Health Blue Hawk. One of Jules's friends had her birthday party there, so some ice skating and some video games and things like that. So a lot of fun that we had there. And by the way, some pretty good pizza too. They had pizza that was made there at Advent Health at Blue Hawk. So that was nice. It was cool.
We should go and all play laser tag.
I know. I want to play laser tag so bad. I like
so
laser
bad
tag.
at laser tag.
I know.
I'm like, I'm going to be good this time. And
You're like my
and
daughter.
I'll
Every
always
time it's like
abandon my strategy of like just not running willy-nilly through it and just actually being patient. And I would die at war within 30 minutes.
It's weird. It's like my daughter. It's like, oh, here's my plan. I'm gonna be good this time when we go to the store. And then I get there and it's just like, just running really willy-nilly all
A lot
through the
like her,
stores.
yeah.
So
I
it's just
don't
like, I'm
want
gonna be
to be patient. That does not seem
No,
like
I
fun.
want to sit there in the corner.
good.
Right?
Yeah, just
That's
sniping
what
people.
You're
the
not the
nerds
sniper.
do.
Yeah, that's what the guys who win do.
Okay.
Nerds.
Yeah, you're not the sniper. You're more of the infantry.
And I think I'm a
Front
horrible
line.
shot too.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I'm a bad shot.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I might be able to, have that person in sight and range, but I don't think I'm gonna hit him.
I
Don't
feel
think I'm able to do that.
like I'm a good shot. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm hitting you right now.
I was terrible at duck hunter. I just couldn't get it
Yeah,
down.
same. I'm really bad at duck hunter.
Duck hunter was just so bad.
Whenever
buck
I'll
hunter.
go to
Either
the
hunter,
range
yes.
as well, either with rifle or handgun. I'm still horrible at I'd be better in a conflict situation just throwing the gun at somebody.
Have you tried?
horrible shot.
Have you tried practicing laser tag at the range?
Maybe that's it.
There
yeah.
it is. Got him right
I
there.
did.
Well, they have those scopes, right?
Yeah,
I could
right.
get a lot better.
I
Yeah.
did hit a tree with a sniper once, but the sniper was bolted down and it was aimed at said tree, so I couldn't.
I don't know if
miss.
maybe you
With a
just
sniper
threw
rifle,
or
or
maybe
maybe
you
actual
just threw the
purpose,
guy into
the
a
person?
tree.
No, I was like, hey, I hit my
I
target.
took Mark Wahlberg. I
Just
threw him against
threw
the
him
tree.
right up against the tree. I hit the I hit the tree with the
Bradley
sniper.
Cooper, you're next.
Got him. And
They had
nailed
like a
it.
Barrett 50 cal, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be cool.
Hey Jackal,
It like
gotcha.
blew the tree up. It was pretty cool, but
Yeah,
it's
tiger
because
scopes, man, they help
What
out
was-
a lot.
was it-
those
what kind
it
of tree
was,
was it?
I don't know. It was oak maybe.
It blew up the entire
Ooh.
tree.
I mean, those
Oak's
things
a
are
tough one to blow up.
Yeah.
walnut maybe. I don't know.
No, I'm asking you. I don't know. You're like, was it a walnut? I don't know. I wasn't there. Ask the sniper.
It's
he's
I
the
don't know
one
my
that went right up
trees
against
I don't know
either.
him. Yeah, like
I could name you like every Heisman Trophy winner, maybe ever.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you the tree that's in my front yard.
There are apples on it. Is that an apple
Is that
tree?
an apple
I
tree?
think so. I think it is.
crab
But
apple.
I'm not
There's
sure.
acorns. It must be an acorn tree.
a corn
That's what we
tree.
call
There
it,
we
right?
go, yeah.
corn
It's
tree.
a corn tree right there.
corn tree.
It's a corn tree right there. I can't believe you did not see that. But good call with Terrell Suggs. It's
a blue
Some
tree.
Of those, yeah, that's right.
DeAndre Hopkins, maybe in a conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think in football, accomplishments and Super Bowls matter a lot, and a lot more than in baseball. I mean, how many of those 1970 Chiefs or 69 Chiefs are in the Hall of Fame? Feels like half of them.
Yeah.
So many. And I get it. There were far less players back then, far less teams. But I think
those moments kind of echo and resonate more in football than they do. Like, I don't know how much, like when you list like Salvi, right, for his campaign, his candidacy for the Hall of Fame, like, is it going to matter he's World Series MVP?
Yes.
Yeah, it will. It'll make a difference.
Yeah.
With Salvi, it'll make it because of World Series MVP specifically. If it was like, okay, he played
I
World
hear
Series
that like the 10th thing named.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about.
I think for him specifically, it'll be. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Well,
I think that's a bad
definitely.
argument for Salvi.
No, he should say that. I'm just saying, will it factor into it? Will it sway that much?
Yeah, I think for him specifically, it's one of the
Yeah.
main things he has going for him, because there are a lot of people that are pushing back on, Salvi's. If Salvi gets in, it's the Hall of Good and not the Hall of Fame. And one of the main things Salvi has on some of the other catchers that didn't get in was a World Series MVP
and slug too.
Yeah,
I mean he's up there in slug, and
he's one of few catchers that have 5 Silver Sluggers and 5 Gold Gloves.
So I want to say he's barely over 300 on base his career.
Yeah.
What would matter more? I don't know, 30 more points there, or the World Series? Would you take away the World Series
see what you're
MVP
saying,
to add 30 more points? Would that get him closer?
I think it's the World Series MVP for him specifically.
I mean, it just depends on
His career on base percentage is 303.
Yeah. And I'm saying,
So
what would get him
333?
closer? A higher on base or that World Series MVP?
I think World Series MVP.
I hope so. I mean, that's obviously what he's going to tout. But, I mean, there's always the other, the kind of the average stats. Not
And
the
I'm the
counting stats
nerd.
that are
I thought
against
I'm the
him.
nerd guy.
Yeah.
You are a nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't take away your nerddom.
About sports.
Any way, shape,
I'm
or
a
form.
sports
No,
nerd.
I
I'm
mean-
not like a Lord of the Rings guy.
Yeah, but that's fine. We like guys running around wearing like pads and football stuff, or wearing skin tight jerseys and hitting a round object with a round bat. Like, oh, I like comic books. Oh, you're such a nerd. I'm gonna go over here and watch this guy, wear a tank top and try to throw a ball through a circular hoop that's 10 feet above the ground. Okay, nerd. No, I'm cool.
Well, I think
There are social constructs that
Is that
say
right?
that's
Is that what
cool.
it is? Okay.
I think the
Didn't know.
awards, in the case of baseball, the All-Stars, the Silver Sluggers, all that stuff should matter way more than it does, because I remember I read the book Keith Olbermann before he turned crazy. He always talked about these guys, right?
Is that right?
Yeah, this is long ago. Long ago, he he would compare guys to his era, right? How were you against guys in your era? And I think that fit. I mean, because Salvi's in an era where slug is way more important than batting average, and you'll have guys in the catchers in the 70s and the 80s that had way higher batting average that people will point to him like, well, okay, it's a
Did they
different
though?
time.
I mean, I think a lot of catchers back then.
Oh yeah, most of the catchers in the Hall of Fame have a higher batting average.
Johnny Bench hit 267. Do you know Salvi's career batting average is?
Lower than that.
266.
There you go.
So you're technically
that was
right by 1 point.
There's 20 I think 20 catchers in the Hall of Fame. I think he would be in the bottom 3 or 4 on batting average.
The one thing that only stood out from Johnny Bench, obviously we know the defensive metrics and all that stuff, on base. That's actually the big. MVPs. But
I was going to say, the MVPs. of
World
entire
Series
leagues.
MVP, both have one.
Regular season MVPs.
Bench has two.
Okay. Yeah, that stands out.
No, Bench is probably the greatest catcher of
Well, I
all
hope
time.
You're comparing him. Right?
I hope
You're
they
comparing him to the
compare
standard.
Salvi to Johnny Bench, because he would be, if so, then he's a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They're probably comparing him to.
See, you have a lot of the pushback.
It is kind of
comes
funny though.
from-
Slug's pretty darn close. Average is eerily close. It's the on base percentage, and
Well, you have
I'm talking career numbers.
a big pushback is also the fan base that thought Volpe was better than Bobby Witt, but their argument is, if Posada's not in the Hall of Fame,
look at Posada's numbers.
then-
He does not belong in the Hall
then,
of Fame.
then how
honestly.
is Salvi going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Compare him.
The problem with
do it
Posada
now.
is, and I'm not saying he was deserving of any Gold Gloves. Salvi didn't go up against Pudge in Pudge's prime. Pudge was Gold Glove every single year, so Salvi's got 5 of them. So if you want to argue that, that's fine. But he still has the accomplishments on his record of that many Gold Gloves.
And then there's Buster Posey, who's the anti-Salvi, right? He has short career and high in the average stats, right? But low in the counting numbers because he didn't play a long time. But he'll probably be a lock, I'm guessing. whenever he's eligible.
Posada's interesting, actually, because offensively, slightly better than Salvi. Slightly better.
In what ways?
Well, on base, 70%.
Yeah. About everybody's going to be on
batting average is very close. Slightly more slug. Fewer career home runs.
Played in a tiny park, too.
The run differential is hilarious because if he's playing on a good team with Salvi on a lot of bad teams, so about three.
But WAR too is something.
WAR is slightly higher for Posada.
But I mean, he played longer, right?
At bats, I'm just looking at bats right now. About the same.
Salvi's at 14 years in the league.
What was
Posada was 17.
Yeah,
but
so
his first
Salvi will catch
his
that.
first 2 seasons didn't count. He played 1 game in 8 games.
Well, Salvi played a 60-game season short and missed an entire year.
He had a 60-game season and a 51-game season.
So Salvi in
I'm not
19
trying to argue Posada, by the way. I'm just.
But
I'm saying
I just say this.
If Posada was a Mariner, nobody would be talking about him for the Hall of Fame.
In 19 and 20, Salvi played a total of 37 games. Because missing all of 2019 and then 37 of the 60 games in 2020, the COVID short. So that's 2 years combined for 37 games.
The point I guess I would make is I understand where Yankees fans would come from if Salvi gets in because they're offensive first players. The difference I also have is the 0 gold gloves for Posada, and you cannot tout Derek Jeter's gold gloves and then try and take away. It doesn't matter. That's my main argument.
Their argument is, well, Pudge Rodriguez is the reason why Jorge Posada doesn't have any gold gloves. And I'd have to go back and look at the voting if
he was even closer, second every single year. And also, there's not really a where was Posada's league-leading home run year?
Yeah.
Where was
how many on Baseball Reference? How many black
bold.
the bolds? Yeah.
Oh.
How many bold numbers does he have?
2. Grounded into double plays.
There you go.
Oh,
Twice.
Okay. Well, he's got that one though.
And that's kind of my point is he was very, very good, but but Salvador Perez
That's true.
does have a couple.
Led the league in
I
double
wasn't
plays
lying
twice.
to you,
I
yeah.
know. Those are the two.
Like he
bold-
led the league in home runs. Perez did.
Yeah, he did.
I believe he led the league in RBIs. Perez
Same
did.
year.
Yeah, Salvi's got 2, and it's RBIs and home runs 1 year.
Well, I think the 2 biggest stats for Salvi, actual stats and not MVPs and awards and all that stuff, is going to be 300 home runs and
7 away.
2,000, and so he's going to get to 300 home runs maybe this month, right? And then 2,000 hits in a year or 2, I think. I can't remember.
He
a couple
is
years.
323 hits away.
So
probably 2.5.
2027 he would get there.
I
if he
do
stays
think
healthy.
the hardest thing for Salvi.
I don't believe there's any catcher, sorry to interrupt, that has hit those 2 marks and is not in the Hall of Fame.
The dumb framing argument, when that was instituted, has destroyed Salvador Perez's defensive metrics and wins above replacement. Because I get it, it's nerdy.
How good of a catcher was Gary Carter? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And
they also don't care.
And basically what
I bet he was way worse than Salvi.
Piazza.
Honestly.
Nobody knows.
I mean, Mike Piazza as well. It's just because umpires get fooled by you means that you now are more Hall of Fame worthy because Salvador Perez was 6'3" and 260, and the umpires have a hard time seeing what he's doing, that now he has to be penalized for that. I just find the whole thing laughable. And
I mean, if you
and
make
I'm the
that
nerd,
argument, you can throw the gold gloves right back at that argument.
And that's my point. And that's why, again, when Yankees fans say Posada, I get where they're coming from, but also I'm like, you're the same people who want to use gold gloves for
Fine with
Jeter.
both of them, man.
Yeah, see, when it comes to there are a lot of people that are very staunch, protectors of the Hall of Fame, and that's not really where
Which
I
is
am.
fine,
I'm
but-
just sort
but-
of like, I think Salvi's a Hall of Famer. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. The guy's a World Series MVP, 9-time All-Star, 5 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers. Also, the Clemente Award. Just a great dude. Also a great dude as well. So, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer, and if somebody wants to argue he's not, that's fine.
And by the way, Posada was a 5-time All-Star. 5 times.
Is it 9 times?
9 times.
Not 9 times. Not 9 times for Salvi.
9
Well,
times.
it'd
9-time
be
All-Star
10,
for
and he
Salvi.
turned, had the second half,
Yeah.
first half this year.
No doubt, man.
But
He's
also
been
he had the
on
second
fire.
half. Well, 23, he probably shouldn't have got it.
What are you talking about? Why do you hate Salvi?
Love Salvi.
Blake, you, my friend.
Yankees they should be more worried about Don Mattingly and Roger Maris. Get those guys in.
Yeah. Well, Maris should be in based on the record alone.
But also,
I think you should
It's
be
the
in.
most hallowed record in sports that he held.
If you hold
for
the
40 years.
coveted record
Yes.
for 40 years, I feel like you
A
should probably be in the Hall of
lifetime.
Fame. Yes, you
I
should be
will
in there.
also point out I am irrationally angry that Mariano
Period.
Rivera
Oh.
is the only person to be. The entire baseball voters said closers don't really matter, and so we're not gonna really put you in. You might get in, but it's gonna be years and years and years. And then they're like, okay, all of a sudden because you're a Yankee and you're a closer, we're gonna completely change our entire thought process on this just for this one guy.
See, I'm not mad about
Pisses
that
me
because
off.
I don't want to be like them. If you're mad about that, then you care how a guy going in compares to a guy 50 years goes in.
Well, then
And
why
that's
isn't
the
Ichiro?
problem.
Why
That's
what?
the problem.
I just think there should be more of the unanimous voters. You know what I mean?
Of course, but there's no going back.
Right.
So I'm not going to pummel. I mean, I think Rivera should have been a unanimous guy.
Right.
Yeah, I thought
Just
and
like
I
I
thought,
think George Brett should have, and Noah Ryan, and all those
Ichiro
guys.
and Babe Ruth
they
and
should
Cy
have all
Young.
been-
Yes, but
Rivera being a unanimous
The
voter.
first one
is
is
not
the one.
issue.
But if
Right.
you're mad at he's unanimous, then you're comparing him to the guys of the past,
see,
and that's the problem. These Hall of Fame voters, they compare guys of the past. Oh, like we don't want him to get more of a percentage than so and so. I'm like, I don't care. Get him in if he's unanimous.
Right, and that's my. I don't think it's an issue. That
It is silly. He's
it's
not the best player ever.
It's not an issue that Rivera is a unanimous selection. The issue is that he's the only one. Like it's absurd that all of these other clear first ballot unanimous Hall of Famers are left out from being unanimous because one writer has to be like, you know what, I'll be the one, guys. I'll be the one that doesn't vote him in. And apparently nobody talked before Rivera to somebody decide that they were going to be the person that didn't vote him in on the first
in the next
ballot.
10 years,
It's
we
just
could have
dumb.
6 or 8 more that
Just
are
dumb.
unanimous.
Just put him in. Just a unanimous. So Ichiro's a unanimous Hall of Fame. Like Brett, Ryan, all those guys were unanimous Hall of Famers. You know, there's no question about some of that.
They should take away like the outlier votes, the 5 highest, the 5 lowest.
I like it. Yes, I like that. That's great. We'll take a time out. We'll come back, continue rolling. Learn funniest best from the weekend. What we learned, the funniest from the weekend, best from the weekend, hanging out with Mick Schaefer. Mick Schaefer, are you chefing? He's over here just cooking. Mick Schaefer, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. More Zone next. All right, hanging out with Mick Schaefer here. 1 o'clock hours presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Learn funniest best, what we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend, going around the room as to what took place. What I learned, and, I've watched the Little League World Series a lot, and never did I realize that you aren't allowed to slide head first in the 12-year-old actual Little League. I know you can't lead off, which is dumb. Let's play real baseball here. They're 12 years old. All right, we're leading off as 8 and 9-year-olds around Kansas City, but whatever. With the U-Trip or Perfect Game or PBR, whatever. So you can't lead off one, but you also cannot slide head first into the base. And this happened with Connecticut versus New Jersey. It was bottom of the 7th.
Into any base?
Any base.
Oh, my gosh. Too bad it's taut going into second and third.
Yes. Bottom of the 7th. New Jersey's trailing by 1 run. There's 2 outs and a runner at third. Now, you can't steal until the ball gets – you can't lead off until the ball gets to the batter.
Like
okay,
softball.
Judgment call. So they run a delayed steal. The catcher throws the ball back to the pitcher, and the guy at first takes off. The pitcher turns around, seeing the runner heading to second, throws the ball to second. The guy at third then is halfway down the line waiting for the pitcher to make the move, runs and scores. The throw to the second baseman is a little high and to his left. The runner that's heading to second dodges the guy and then slides in head first, is safe. They call him safe. That guy scores. The other team comes out and protests. They go to they get together and say, oh, he did slide head first. He's out. Game over. Game over because he slid into second base head first.
Also, if you were the other coach that challenged that, how big of a...
Oh, I'm challenging that.
Oh,
Trying to win
dude.
the World Series here.
Soft.
Those are the rules. It's a Little League World Series. It's just a dumb rule. But
There
I'm gonna
are
challenge,
rules.
There
This
are.
isn't...
They're all mic'd up, too, so I wonder, and they're all probably threatened with their lives of, like, you got to be the ultimate sport, and I don't want you questioning any call. And
Right. It's but it's a dumb rule. Like you can slide back to a base head first. So if you round third and there's a play back at third, you can dive head first.
That's dumb.
So now you're having 12-year-olds decide when I can slide head first, when I can't slide head first. By the way, I mean, how many times are you sliding back to the bag anyway? You can't lead off.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's just whatever. You trip or any other leagues around here would be more enjoyable baseball than the Little League rules that they have. You can't lead off as a 12-year-old.
Soft.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
Plus, the mound is 5 feet away from home plate.
Well, they can't lead off because the bases are so short.
Yeah, the bases and the mound are the base paths and mound of 10-year-olds around here. So, other than that, enjoyable. I like watching it, though. Kansas is eliminated, and Missouri got eliminated today by Nebraska. So there you go. What did you learn this weekend, Sterling?
I learned that I have the same Power Age AC/DC shirt as Happy and Happy Glimmer too.
I learned that you do a radio show with sunflower seeds in your mouth.
Okay.
That's what I learned.
What's the deal here? What do
You
you
can't even tell I have them in.
Oh, we all
Are
can.
you serious?
Seriously?
Yes. Even the guy in the mask back there could tell.
Well, I was getting ready
With
to
a big old pouch in your cheek. You're also holding a cup a foot away from your mouth and spitting him in there.
With some chaw there,
A
guy?
lot of clues.
So I was, only if you're watching.
No, I can hear
we
it.
can hear it.
Yeah.
Can you? Okay,
Yes.
I'm getting ready to spit them out.
You don't completely sound like Jim Rome.
Fine,
with him in
I'll-
there.
Yeah, thanks, Salvi.
Is that better?
No.
I
No,
mean,
you still have
I'd
him in
rather
there.
the.
I got 5 left.
Oh,
okay.
they sound much different. Yeah, you do sound much better.
I'm gonna get the other 5 out.
Yeah, when you don't. What? I mean,
Who does a
You're
radio
making
show
me
with-
ruin my dill pickle sunflower
You're
seeds.
ruining Jason's show.
No, I was
this is
hungry.
what does that have to do with you
I
being able to
forgot-
talk on the air?
You eat sunflower seeds when you're hungry?
Well, no, that's all I had.
Have you ever heard of meat or potatoes?
I raided the mini fridge that it's in the.
Wait, you had sunflower seeds in the mini
No,
fridge?
they're in
This
my
story has so
bag.
many holes.
They're in my bag, and
Your bag's in the fridge?
I had no. I'm hungry. I tried to meal prep last night. We made dinner.
Yeah.
We thought we made enough to take to work today. We
I'm
didn't.
so sorry this happened.
Because I
So you're-
ate too much last night. 'Cause I'm a
y-
fat ass.
So your lack of planning became our listening to Sterling with the big old chunk of his
I
mouth.
thought
while
you
trying to-
wouldn't notice.
Yeah, right. Everybody noticed.
That was a lot of sunflower seeds too. It wasn't a couple. That was
that was
probably 45.
Real smart. Real smart.
I
Anyway,
feel like a chipmunk.
what'd you learn again?
I learned
I'm gonna
that
rest the
people
show with my pants down.
that pe-
See if you notice.
Yeah.
that people can
He
tell
sounds different.
when I have sunflower seeds in my cheeks.
Yeah, I learned that. I did not learn that. I knew that somebody would be able to tell.
I have the same Power Rage AC/DC shirt as Happy and
Oh,
Happy
nice.
at Gilmore 2. I saw that and I go,
That is
I
cool.
have that shirt. It's the
Nice.
one of Angus when his like wrists are cut and they're just wires dangling.
Yeah, I'll
and
take
he
your word
wears
for
it in one of the early on and I go, I got that.
Yes.
So
Nice.
that was kind of cool.
I'm gonna order. I've got a new band shirt on the way. My buddy had it. At
Mine's
the,
an OG
at the
shirt
lake.
though, original.
Well, this is gonna be original because it's a band. It's called Nicholas and the Cages, and every band member is Nick Cage holding an instrument, except for one guy playing bass is John Travolta.
Yes. And is that actually Nick Cage though?
But it's the same
Or
person,
is
right?
that John
Or
Travolta?
the other
that's
four
the Face Off.
John Travolta, and then that's Nick
Yes,
Cage.
that's Face Off. I don't know. I'm not sure, man.
I really wish I had some seeds.
What
right
if we
now.
What if we can do a surgery where we
one
take
of us.
somebody's face and just put it on the other person's face,
And then flip-flop it again.
Although the bone structure is completely different, but then we'll
It's
just
all about the
flip flop it one
skin.
day. It's not a big deal. It's all about the skin that lays over. The skin is actually what creates your face, not the skeleton. Anyway,
What is this now?
Face Off.
Face Off.
John Travolta, Nick Cage.
Oh, that's gonna be one of my movies. I'm gonna do Nick Cage on. We should all
We
do
should
Nick
do
Cage
Nick Cage
movies
movies.
because there's a million of them.
There are a lot of them.
The Drake could probably list it off like 100 right now.
Yes, I bet he could. He's one of the biggest Nick Cage fans around. I just made that up. I don't know. What'd you learn this weekend, Mick?
I like the geography and all that stuff. I learned the longest place name. The longest place name in the United States is a lake in Massachusetts, and the lake is called. Let me give it a shot. Lake Chargo Gago Manchow Gago Chow Bunnagan Gamaug.
Yeah, it's just pronounced Chamau.
It's CHARGOGGAGMANCHAUGGAGOGG CHAUBUNAGUNGAMAUGG. You gotta look. I need a pronouncer.
Yeah, I want to look it up.
We gotta.
Oh yeah, you've never been to Lake Chabanuga Namug?
Nah, that wasn't long enough. You needed.
Well, that was the short
20
name.
more syllables.
That was the short name. That's the nickname. Chaba
pronouncer. Let's see.
Pronouncer.
Nagung.
Now try it with the
Oh, here
Wow.
it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. All right, ready?
Chumbawamba.
Try it again.
Say it again.
Lake Chargagagog Manchagagog Chowbunnagungamog.
Yeah, that's
about what I said.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's about what I said.
So it's the traditional spelling.
It is. It's how it sounded out.
Lake Chargagagog Manchagagog Chowbunnagungamog.
Chumbawamba for short.
I want to. Yeah, I want to
Lake
go
Charg?
there. Lake Charg.
We're just going to head up to Lake Charg.
We're going to LC.
It's amazing.
We're going to the lake.
That is when you just say the lake.
The lake.
Which one? You know which one.
It's the
I'm not
lake.
going to pronounce it. The Char Lake. All right, that's where we're going.
I learned that COVID is still a thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, a lot of people will tell you that's still a thing. It's still going on. Yeah, and I'm glad you're back.
Me
Glad
too.
you're back, Drake. Yes. Did you get a lot done at the house last week?
Some
Are you
days,
the person that's able to just chill and just relax?
I try to do things until I would just be exhausted and I would have to lay down. But I tried.
Yeah.
I did all right over the weekend. Got some things done.
My wife cannot just chill and just relax and just like, oh, let's sit down and watch a movie. No, I got to be doing something. And I'm the exact opposite. So I would rather just, chill. I'll get all the work done, do all that stuff. But then when I'm not, I'm just chill, hang out, watch the game, whatever.
I'd love to do that. I just
Yeah, I
never
know, right?
been
No,
able
that's
to.
true. Yeah, well, I haven't moved any kids into college yet, so
I got
that's-
two of them this
I know.
weekend.
Well, I didn't have to deal with that, you know. All right, I'm building deck stairs right now. What's the funniest from the weekend for you, Sterling?
Derek Jeter is statistically the worst defensive player in baseball history with a career defensive
funniest.
run saved total of minus 155. This means he costs his team 155 runs on defense compared to the average shortstop.
Wow.
And by the way, this is only including 2003 to 2014 because it wasn't actually tracked before
Beforehand.
then. He won 5 Gold Gloves, though. The highest is Andrelton Simmons with 201.
Wow.
So
that's
yeah,
like 100.
That's your funniest?
Or what, 366
differences. Yeah.
yard run swing there.
So
It's pretty good. Funniest for you, Mick?
for example, by the way, Hanley Ramirez, second worst shortstop in that period, had minus 73. So
Wow.
Derek Jeter was
Big-
even twice as
as bad.
But got to give him those gold gloves, and love the Yankees. Chocolate chip cookie, the burnt chocolate chip cookie of shortstops.
Anyway, funniest for you, Mick?
Funniest, our 9-round in Shawnee did a 180. 9-round is the boxing place, a good play, for 9 different rounds, get in good shape, whatever, build your muscle, all that. I did it for I don't know, a year or two, and it is now a Betty Ray's ice cream job. It folded, and now Betty Ray's is in there. And when I would go into 9 rounds, there'd be 2, 3 other people in there, maybe I was the only one. And last night went to Betty Ray's, line out the door. That's America. Hashtag America.
It's a pretty decent
Hashtag America.
observation and representation of America. Working out, maybe. Ice cream, I'm there.
There.
Okay, shall I get seconds?
I'll do 9 scoops. How about that?
Well, because you burn calories every time you have to go
Technically
down.
do.
And
Breathing, everything. Yeah,
100%,
sleeping, yeah.
yep.
You're always burning calories.
What was the funniest for you, Drake?
Well, I did get a little bit of time in the yard because it was so nice this weekend, and being
Yes,
outside's
great.
good for you when you got COVID. And I've had this little fern. I moved in my house over 20 years ago. This little fern in the corner of the yard, and it has grown and expanded out, and it's kind of pretty. And I thought, oh, nice. And so I had some time, so I wondered what kind of fern it was. I asked ChatGPT. It's actually ragweed, and I have to pull it off.
Oh, no.
So weed?
This is really nice. This is
can't
beautiful.
tell
I've
the
got this
difference.
out there. We paid a lot of money for this thing.
I was going to say you should get another second fern and then do interviews between them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, they could be red ferns though, and then where the
They
red
could
fern
grow,
grows. Yeah,
yeah.
where the red fern grows.
You
Funniest
could
for
put
me.
a place where you store clothes out there, like a dresser next to it. It could be fern dresser.
I don't like that. I liked it. I don't like that. I liked it at all. Yeah. That's disappointing. Funniest for me from the weekend is I don't know if you,
that was it.
Chester drawers out there. Put
yeah,
your clothes in
Chester.
there.
Yeah, Chester.
It's fern dresser.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this from the weekend, but the Astros and Red Sox, the bench is cleared. So it's in, I can't remember which inning it is, but you got a runner at second for the Red Sox. Astros on the mound. And there's a little bit of a commotion with the pitcher and the guy at second. And the pitcher gets on the mound and balks on purpose. Sends the guy over to third. Next pitch later, with 2 outs, pop up to center. Guy takes off, goes home. It's caught, third out. The third base coach starts jogging to the Red Sox dugout, which is on the first base side. The pitcher and him start jawing, and the pitcher is pissed at him. The bench is clear because the Houston Astros were pissed that the Red Sox were stealing signs.
No way. Can't make that up.
They were arguing, and benches cleared because the guy at second was stealing signs.
Because you've seen that before, where it doesn't matter second or third base in
Yep.
Major League Baseball. It usually doesn't matter. Get him over there so
Yep.
we can be.
Yeah.
But who still puts down
Right.
2 for
They
curveball,
were-
1 for fastball
They
anymore?
were looking at the grip of the pitcher at second base, and he was relaying what the grip was in his glove, so he could see the pitcher's
who
grip
can't
in his
hide
glove.
that?
Yeah,
It's kind of on the pitcher.
right.
Absolutely, it
That's
is.
what I said. It's right. They cleared the base. They cleared the benches because. And by the way, I really appreciated the third base coach because the third base coach was sort of jawing, but he's walking back to the first base dugout. And then when the bench is clear, all of the people come running out. You know what the third base coach did? He just kept walking. He didn't turn around and be like, "Yeah, now what?" He was just like, "Whatever, dude." He just kept
I've been
walking
in these,
away.
plenty of these.
And I'm like, you know what? I thought for sure as he's walking away, as soon as everybody gets past him and he's no longer Jon Snow,
Yeah.
as soon as everybody gets past him, he'd turn around and then be a tough guy. He just kept walking away. I'm like, good for you, third base coach. He's like, I'm not even dealing with this dude.
Devil's advocate, probably most of those Astros on defense there weren't part of the cheating scandal, and hopefully they're against all that or whatever.
Look,
So-
Correa's back though now.
I got Correa
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Correa's like, you can't do that? Is that frowned upon?
Well, but
but
in
see,
fairness,
that-
Boston was the other team that was also
Yeah, right,
that
right.
had the questions about the iPads in center field.
But also, for years and years and years, that has sort of been viewed as, you can steal signs. If
Sure.
you're dumb enough to do
Yeah.
that, you can steal signs. It's the pounding of the trash can
Yes.
and all of that
That's
stuff.
still
and
kind
maybe
of part of
using
the
technology.
gamesmanship. Right, yeah.
But like seeing what grip the guy has in his glove, how about this? Don't show the guy at second
Don't
base
tip
the
your
grip.
pitches, yeah.
You know, and then he balks him. It was a ground ball to short. That's what it was, because it was a ground ball to deep short. And the guy had to field it, and I'm like, if this is an error, that run scores because they balked him over to third, thinking it doesn't matter. If it's an infield single, he scores, but they end up getting the out, and then the.
God, you really
the
do
pitcher-
sit down and watch a lot of TV.
No, it was just on. It was on
sure,
the Twitter
right,
account.
yeah.
I know. I watch all the games. I had a fantasy player in the game. The best. We start with you, Mick. Best from the weekend.
Sir Anthony Dominguez. It was last week, though. Pitching,
right.
playing for both teams in a doubleheader. He didn't play. He didn't pitch in the first one, but with the Blue Jays and the Orioles, right?
Yeah.
And pitching against his old team, like just a couple hours after. Right, being on that team, we've seen it before, like during a series from one day to another. I don't think I'd ever seen it during a doubleheader.
The guy walked from clubhouse to clubhouse between
games. That was almost like the Danny Jansen doubleheader, or not the suspended game last
yeah,
year,
I forgot about
where
that.
he came up, where he was due up, but he had been traded toward that team, and he was the catcher, and there was a pinch hitter, and that at bat was on his record.
That's right, and he didn't bat. He didn't.
I would have been like fastball inside.
Inside, that's right. Yes, that was like the minor leaguer that hit the double and goes to second, and while he's there, last Thursday, he's at second. And they call him off the field because he had just been traded. So
You
he's
can't
at second.
wait.
So he jogs off the field and high fives the guy coming in to pinch
and
run
he
for
knew?
him. Yeah,
Did he
it's
know?
like you've been traded. All right, so go get your stuff. You're
Wait a couple minutes to get him
I
around
can't score
in the inning.
It's like, no, that guy does not get injured, because if that guy gets injured, our trade is off. You get him off the field right now. He's at second. He's in the dugout. Get him off the field. Best for you from the weekend, Drake.
It was a week ago today. I found out my kid was okay.
That's good.
A week ago today, we got a phone call from the convenience store where he works down in Wichita, and they're like, "Hey, he's in an ambulance right now. Somebody mistook the gas for the brake and drove through the front doors of the store and hit him, and pushed him to the back of the store. He got a little cut and hurt his toe, but he's gonna be all right. But that was a close call.
Yeah.
I feel like you
He's
buried the
gonna be
lead
a-
there. You had the Fern story before that one. That's
He's going to be.
amazing.
Well, I don't think the Fern story that wouldn't be his funniest.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
this is best. What's
because
worse?
he's okay.
I guess so. Yeah.
What's his worst? The car hitting him. Best is he was fine.
I feel
You know?
we should have heard the story.
He just
before
has a
that.
little toe.
Yeah.
That's a tough dude,
He's
by
got
the
it.
way. That is a tough
my
kid.
gosh.
He gets hit by a car, and it's like,
Is he out of the hospital?
My toe's a little messed up.
Yeah, they just looked at it. They thought he was going to get some stitches, and then decided not to, and sent him home.
But now he can. But does that count as workman's comp, getting hit by a car? Because
Yeah.
you're at your place of business.
100%.
Yes, I'm just
Absolutely.
saying, like, it's an odd. You work at a store? Yeah. What's a workman's comp for? Got hit by a car.
Yes.
In the store? Yeah.
Yes.
In the store.
Yeah, he was cleaning the glass on the front door, and the guy just came right through.
Wow. That's that the guy clearly.
What the
had an
guy?
issue
What
with
did the guy do?
He then immediately backed out,
And
back
left?
somehow through the parking lot, in between I've got video
The
of it.
pumps?
In between the pumps, and backwards across 4 lanes of a busy street, and hit a tree.
Was he
So
hammered,
wait,
or what
his-
happened? Was he concussed?
Older gentleman.
Yeah. So wait, he was just done going forward after that? He's like, that was a
just
bad
gonna go
thing. I can't go
backwards.
forward
I-
ever again in my life.
So I'm going to go backwards.
We don't
now.
know. The police report is incredibly vague, but it looks like he was pulling up to the front of the store, tried to hit the brake, instead hit the gas, and then was like, "Oh my gosh," and put it in reverse, not realizing that his foot was still on the gas, thinking it was the brake.
How did it get into the? How did it shift gears?
I don't.
Why don't
know.
you ask him, Sterling? I mean,
Well, let's have him on. Be a good
But
guest.
I've got video. I'll show you during the break.
yes,
Oh my
I want to see
gosh,
this
I'm going to
video.
see this. Yeah, I'd be a good guest.
My best from the weekend is my grandpa got in a car accident. He drove through a store's front windows, but he's okay. He's all right. Just a foot injury or toe injury for the person that he hit. It was perfectly fine though. No, my best from the weekend was a couple of different speeches. One, Jared Allen's speech, and him getting emotional. I thought it was really cool that when we see the Jared Allen from the guy that he was in Kansas City and being kind of crazy and out doing the things that he was doing, to then being a guy that's up there weeping over his daughters and talking about, if I get to heaven and all they're talking about is my career and my gold jacket, then I failed. I need to be a Hall of Famer father and husband, and you girls are my true. Everybody's talking about legacy. You guys are my legacy. He finally cried when he was talking about his family. He joked about no tears yet, the different bets. And then the Sharps, Sterling Sharp and Shannon Sharp, that Shannon Sharp, when he won the Super Bowl against the Packers, gave his ring to Sterling Sharp because he felt like he was the better player than he was. And so Sterling said it was the greatest gift he was ever given. And so then Sterling Sharp asks Shannon to come up because Shannon Sharp, he said he was the only Hall of Famer who was the second best player in his own family at his speech. So Sterling Sharp asks Shannon to come up there.
That can't be true, though, right?
I don't know.
The Matthews brothers, right?
Could be.
One has to be worse than the other.
That's probably right, yes.
Aren't they both in?
So then Sterling Sharp takes his jacket off and puts it on Shannon and says, now you're the only guy in the Hall of Fame with two gold jackets.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was and they embraced, and it was a really cool moment just seeing like Sterling from their upbringing is saying, my whole life was my whole life, everything I did was for an audience of one because I knew Shannon was watching everything that I did. So when it came to like how I conducted myself, making sure stuff got done, food on the table, family was able to make it through, it was all for him. It was a really cool emotional moment between clearly brothers that are very close. So there was some cool moments.
When did Shannon go in? How long ago?
4 or 5
was
years
he
ago.
5 years right after he retired?
I mean, I don't know. It
was
seems
he first ballot.
Yeah, it seems like it's not that long ago when he talked to her because I remember talking about that line when he said, "I'm the only Hall of Famer, is the second best player in my family."
There was a long time where, Sterling was the best. You hadn't heard of Shannon because Sterling was this great receiver for the Packers, and then kind of as he was tailing off, little brother was coming along as a tight end. Tight end was not the sexy position it is now.
Yeah.
And
2011, Shannon went in.
Okay. Wow. Long time ago.
Sterling only played. I didn't realize he only played 7 years.
Yeah. 7 years.
I didn't play that long.
Yeah.
But they were all good. He was like Sandy Koufax. He was just great every year.
But he talked about on the broadcast on Thursday night that he was like, look, man, playing football is kind of what I did, and whatever happened happened. And he said when he got diagnosed with the back injury and it was done, he said, my family, we celebrated, we cheered. It's a great run. It was a great run, and now I don't have a choice.
Well, I feel
I can't play football, and it's not my choice. Let's go. Let's move on.
A lot of people knew him more for ESPN, just on the set there, ESPN Countdown or whatever.
So that was my best from the weekend. There were some really cool speeches there. Antonio Gates being the first ever non-college football player to go into the Football Hall of Fame. Never playing it down. Never playing it down in college football, and he's a Hall of Famer. What was the best for you from the weekend?
So I was at a gas station. I saw an older gentleman drive.
Tripling down.
This is, all right, yes. That was your best? Wow.
There's a pro summer ball team called the Portland Pickles, and they let a fan take an at-bat.
What? Oh,
baseball? And his baseball. And his first at-bat, he took a walk, and then they had him back out again. Because wow, he took a walk. Great walk.
So he has to get an actual at-bat, not a plate appearance.
So then he got one. And he hit a absolute moonshot home run.
No way.
Yeah, it was like a full count,
That's
and he just ripped one over the left field bleachers. But imagine you're trying to, get to the next level. You're in the summer pro league, and they pick a fan, and he just
got some skills,
and he just hits a bomb off you.
Did the guy lay it in there? As in, like, hey?
No, it was a pretty good pitch, and you hear the crack of the bat. And you're like, oh man, this guy's played somewhere before.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
but
that's too bad. Poor guy. It's like, is that when you hang it up? Is that when you're like, you know what, Skip? I'm not going to be able to pitch for you in 5 days. Why not? Because I'm done. I'm quitting baseball. I'm out. That guy just went yard off me. One, I walked him his first at bat, and the second one, I gave up a home run to him. I'm done with this guy.
So check out the Portland Pickles. They gave him, I believe, a 1-day contract.
You should have given more.
Yeah.
The guy's 1,000 on base percentage and 1,000 slug.
Yeah.
And it's
4,000. Well.
Yeah,
4,000 OPS.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Mick Schaefer, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. One more segment to go here on this Monday. All right, hanging out on a Monday edition of The Zone with Mick Schaefer. Sports Radio 810 WHB. The program with Ren Petro comes up next. A little bonus hour coming our way tonight when the program is over.
Bonus.
Mick Schaefer presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk there over the weekend. It was cool. We got very lucky. Maybe, I don't know if this probably wasn't my best, but could have been. You know, you have the claw machine that has the certain number of tickets.
Yeah.
And they have the big claw machine that has the huge ring with the number of tickets on it.
Did you get it?
Got the 1,500 one, the most you could get there. It was very, very lucky.
You
What'd you
1,500
get?
tickets?
It was 1,500 tickets.
What'd you get?
What did you get? You like a wristband?
I think it was a Starburst, one individual Starburst.
Makes sense.
For the 1,500. No, my son got, he's got like a bag full of candy. I'm like, oh, really? That's what you get here? I mean, you know, if I had done that 3 or 4 more times, we could have got a puzzle.
Right.
Oh, dude, I love puzzles. I'll
Would've been
be
cool.
honest. I'm a big puzzle guy.
Yeah, I like puzzles. We
Tradition
killed.
around the holidays. We do a couple. They just sit out there and
Same.
Oh, yeah, and you just slowly just put them.
if you're
piece them
bored,
together.
go and do it.
Maybe
do
while
the
you're
same
eating
thing.
food or something at dinner, so you don't have to actually talk.
Absolutely. And then the pet will inevitably knock a
Right.
couple off. You'll lose a couple.
Oh no, we
under
got
the,
we have a
the
way of
couch.
we have a way of keeping that from happening.
Not having pets.
Exactly.
Well, then it makes the puzzling where the puzzle
Sure. Yeah.
went.
Really.
Also, if you don't have puzzles, we keep that from happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we do the same thing. We put the puzzle out, and just randomly people will come over and just piece it together.
Why do you
like,
hate
oh,
animals?
Well, I don't hate animals. We just don't have any. So I
Usually,
think there's
he'll
a
get
difference.
animal puzzles, and so that it feels like that strikes the balance.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and so that's as close as my kids have tons of stuffed animal pets. So that's
Do they ask you for like a dog all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I'm like, yeah, when you guys are old enough that it'll be your dog because
That'll
it's your
be-
dog.
that'll be
'Cause
20,
right now,
by the way.
Because right now it'll be my dog. Because like, no,
Don't
no,
you want a dog?
We can
take care of it.
I'm fine not having a dog.
I've had a dog all summer,
I
and
don't need to
he's going to college next month.
The
or
dog
next
is?
week.
I
dog,
thought your kid was.
He's my kid's dog.
Oh.
He bought it.
Are you
And
sad?
so, no, I'm ready for him to not wake me up at 5 a.m. barking his stupid little head off, and for him not to he doesn't know what food is and what's not food, and he's just biting everything. Cute dog, great a lot of the time, but high maintenance. He's going to go be a college dog and drink Busch Light, I'm sure.
He'd be terrible at the game Cake or Not Cake.
It would be horrible. at the
Everything's
game.
cake.
All right, it's cake.
All right,
It's
cake.
not- it's gonna
It
be
must
cake.
be cake. I'm gonna get through this. It's gonna be cake
That's
eventually.
your own tail, Moose.
It'll be cake eventually. Once I get past this plastic, it'll be cake. So they both moved in now?
Yeah.
All right.
We got the dog for one more week. But I'm hoping like at Christmas comes back and the dog's trained and like
He'll be
cool
trained, all right.
and chill. He had to do something.
Be trained to go grab a beer, you know. You know how to
One
do
of those
that.
dogs that take the beers from the fridge and hands you one.
Right, yeah,
That's what you need.
He's got opposable thumbs. That's the kind of dog we got.
He actually
Oh,
opens
crap.
it for you.
It might be a human. Huh. We got a little baby.
It turns out the whole time.